Welcome back to New Era Field. The Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills as the coaches here in the stadium for today. Adam Gase in his rookie year as the Miami head coach, looking for win number 10 on the year. And on the other side of the field in his second year here in Buffalo is the very familiar visage of Rex Ryan. Let's go down to Jamie Erdahl. Jamie.
Greg, Rex Ryan told us his Christmas wish list this year, and it's short. All he wants is for the Bills' playoff hope to still be alive after today. Now, that's feasible. However, reports started surfacing mid-December that Rex Ryan would not have his job come 2017, as we see a headline from the Buffalo News before Week 15 game. Now, Ryan told us that he handles this situation the same every time. He puts his blinders up. He tells his players, I'll coach as hard as I can for you until they tell me to leave the building. So, Greg, we'll see what Santa brings Rex Ryan this week.
Yeah, Jamie, you know, it's funny. There are people who always ask if coaches are nervous about it or not, and it's hard to tell, but I don't think Rex is nervous about it. I think he goes out and does his job.
Well, and I think he brought up the fact that he was under a lot of those same pressures when he was the head coach of the Jets, and he referenced that. He said, listen, you've got to understand there's going to be outside voices and outside noise in terms of the job you're doing. That's part of being a head coach in the National Football League. But as Jamie just told us, he said, I'm going to coach my tail off until they tell me to leave the building, and the players have responded to that.
The Miami Dolphins won the toss, and they have deferred. They will kick it to the Buffalo Bills, and Brandon Tate is deep, and here we go. This will not come out of the end zone. It'll go through for the touchback, and Buffalo will start at their own 25-yard line, and that means Tyrod Taylor, the Buffalo Bills signal caller, trying to stay off his back while doing his job. 14 touchdowns throwing, 6 more rushing. He's been sacked 40 times.
Well, and some of that has to do with how long he hangs onto the football. And when you're a mobile quarterback like Tyrod Taylor, you tend to extend plays. That's where his strength is. He's extending plays or taking off and running, and that also leads to a lot of sacks and why he hangs onto the ball as long as he does.
So here we go. Two teams dead set on postseason play. Taylor in this direction throws, and it's batted away. Intended for Robert Woods and broken up by Tony Lippett. On the Bills O-line, left tackle Cordy Glenn won't play today with a bad back. Cyrus Kouandjio starts, and LaShawn McCoy, the big reason why the Bills own the NFL's #1 rushing offense. He has 12 rushing touchdowns so far. Second and 10. McCoy. And McCoy gets buried for a loss of about 4. Ndamukong Suh and Kiko Alonso after him. Miami, 2 Pro Bowlers on their D-line. Suh inside, Cameron Wake outside. Wake with 10.5 sacks on the season. Linebacker Jelani Jenkins didn't play the second half of the Jets game last week with a bad knee. He can't go. Neville Hewitt starts, and cornerback Byron Maxwell's ankle is a problem. Number 36, Lippett starting opposite Xavier Howard.
Well, this was a big problem for the Bills in the first matchup. Only 3 of 13 on third down, this time 3rd and long.
On 3rd and 12, Taylor tucks it, going to run just across the original line of scrimmage, but out about 6 yards shy of a first down. Run out by Spencer Pasinger. And that'll force the punting unit onto the field.
This is one of the things when talking to the Miami Dolphins that they have to do. They can't give those clean rushing lanes for Tyrod Taylor. When the pass game breaks down, you have to make him stretch it sideline to sideline. That's exactly what they did that time as Pasinger ran him out of bounds.
Jarvis Landry deep for the Dolphins. Short kick, very short. And it does take a Buffalo roll, and it's going to roll to about the 30-yard line. So that means the Miami offense, and that means quarterback Matt Moore, who last week was a coach's dream scenario. Not only performed admirably, he was superb with 4 touchdown passes, starting for injured Ryan Tannehill in the win over the Jets.
Well, and when talking to Adam Gase about him, he said, listen, he comes in every day. He's the same, whether he's the backup or the starter. He comes in and he prepares hard, and that's why the guys around him are okay with him stepping into the huddle, because they know he's going to be prepared. They know he's going to be ready, as he showed last week against the Jets.
So the Dolphins from the 30. Ajayi, left side, for about 3. Center Mike Pouncey gone for the rest of this season with a hip injury. Veteran Greg Ervik once again starts up front. And we'll keep an eye on the guy you just saw, 23, Jay Ajayi. The last time these teams met, Week 7, Ajayi ran for 214 yards in Miami's 3-point win over the Bills.
Well, and it's important to remember a lot of those yards came in the second half, so he's a workhorse that as the carries increase, his output increases.
Moore throwing outside, and that is complete and out of bounds. Tight end Dion Sims. The defensive leader for Buffalo, veteran defensive end Kyle Williams, just named to his 5th Pro Bowl, fighting a bad back but playing today. Buffalo's other Pro Bowler is linebacker Lorenzo Alexander, a team-leading 11.5 sacks. He's been credited with 3 forced fumbles, and cornerback Stephon Gilmore has 5 interceptions. That has him tied for second most in the National Football League. 3rd and 4. Moore gets rid of it and almost picked on the near sideline. Ronald Darby coming up to break it up. Pass intended for Kenny Stills.
Well, and Matt Moore's lucky on this one. He lets go of the ball. The timing isn't quite there. He doesn't release it on time. That gives Darby the chance to cut on it. Fortunately for the Dolphins, that wasn't undercut and going the other way. As you can see, it was on the back shoulder a little bit.
Miami's 48th 3-and-out this season. Coming into this week, 5th most in the NFL. Brandon Tate back at his own 20 for the punt coming up from Matt Darr. Tate at the 17. Back to the 20, breaks the tackle, getting to the outside, to the 30, 35, and bounced out at the 40-yard line. Terrific return by Brandon Tate. 12-10 to play, first quarter. LaShawn McCoy and the Buffalo offense after this. 12 minutes, 10 seconds to play here in the first quarter in Buffalo, and the Bills start thanks to the nice return from Brandon Tate. Start at their own 40-yard line. McCoy changes direction, shakes a tackler, 45, and out to about the 48-yard line where he is brought down convincingly by Michael Thomas. Talk about keys to the day today.
Well, this is going to be a tough thing for both teams. When you look at, for the Dolphins, you have to neutralize LaShawn McCoy. We saw just what happened there. Cameron Wake had him hemmed in, and he was able to bounce outside. And more consistency, being able to back up last week's performance for Matt Moore. Taylor getting the ball out. We mentioned the number of sacks for Buffalo, and then trying to contain Jarvis Landry in the passing game.
8-yard pickup for McCoy gives Buffalo a 2nd and 2. Taylor throwing, and this is McCoy out of the backfield. He's going to lose yardage. They're going to mark him down at the 45, and that'll make it a 3rd and about 5.
Tyrod Taylor, just a quick screen to the outside. Not a screen in necessity or understanding that you have people there to block for you. Just trying to get an open space, really almost like a sweep when you run a pass play like that. But as you can see from that replay, 2 Dolphins in position to wrap him up for a loss.
Jonathan Williams is in the backfield for the Bills. The rookie out of Arkansas. Taylor with time, throwing downfield, and he's incomplete. Sammy Watkins, the intended receiver.
Well, when I was sitting there watching the backfield of Tyrod Taylor, I thought maybe this was going to be a helmet-to-helmet hit on him. You could hear the collision, face mask to face mask, but ultimately it's not called. He had to get rid of the football before Sammy Watkins could locate it or get separation.
That was big Jason Jones bearing down on him. Landry from his own 19 and across the 25 to about the 27-yard line with 10:37 to play in the first. NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. The 2017 Kia Sorento. Learn more at kia.com. Hanes with Fresh IQ advanced odor protection technology. And by Bud Light. Strike gold and you could win Super Bowl tickets for life. Maybe Tyrod Taylor feeling the effects of that hit.
Yeah, as he was walking back to the sideline, it looked like he was spitting blood a little bit.
Moore on the move, throwing on the run, and he's got his man, Marquise Gray, the tight end, and he's out of bounds just shy of midfield. Let's go back to that hit on Tyrod Taylor.
As he's standing in the pocket, you can see the helmet actually hits him in the chest and slides up and hits him low. Jason Jones, the one that hits him, and you can see the cut in his mouth as he's coming off the sideline there. After looking at a closer replay of it, you can understand why the officials didn't call it. The initial hit was in the chest, and then the helmet slid up and got him in the helmet.
From the 48-yard line, this is Ajayi, and Ajayi breaking through and out of bounds at the 45 of Buffalo. Zach Brown pushed him out.
Well, this is one of the things that the Buffalo Bills defense, they talked to us about. They said Ajayi is one of the hardest runners in the National Football League. He's hard to bring down with just one guy, and he's consistently running that way for the whole game.
His production has been down the last several weeks, and it's understandable because he was the hottest running back in the NFL for several weeks.
Well, we get back-to-back 200-yard games, everybody tends to draw attention to it. Now he's only averaged about 55, 60 yards a game over the last 4, but you can see with the problems the Bills have had stopping the running game.
Ajayi bouncing it to the outside, getting a first down, and much more before he's brought down by Corey Graham. Last time these teams met, Ajayi, a career high 214 against the Bills week 7. Ajayi gashed him with 9 carries of 10 or more yards, including a 53-yard touchdown run. And of that 214, 115 came in the second half when everybody else on the field is getting a little bit tired, Trent.
Well, and the Bills defensively are 27th in the league in stopping the run. If you remember a couple weeks ago, Le'Veon Bell had 236 yards rushing against this Bills defense.
That was a 19-yard burst for the first down. Ajayi again. And this time he's tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. He'll be marked down at about the 26-yard line. That's Leger Douzable who busted up, and there's Ryan Tannehill.
Dolphins fans will be excited to see him moving around a little bit. Whether or not he can get back this season, they haven't placed him on IR yet because they're not sure how quickly he'll be able to recover from the knee injury.
Number 32, Kenyon Drake, is in the Miami backfield, the third-round draft pick out of Alabama. Moore going long and incomplete. Landry, the closest Dolphin to the pass. Let's go down to Jamie.
Greg, last week Ryan Tannehill was on the sideline for the Dolphins game. Now, reports were that he was seen with a hard cast on that injured knee. And the report also was that he went to visit Dr. Andrews this week. Now he's back with the team this week. I saw him this morning. He has a soft brace on that knee, and he's staying status quo. He's making sure he's Matt Moore's second-hand man here today. Full communication with the quarterback.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Loud crowd. 3rd and 11. Moore. Time, throwing, sideline, grabbed as he inbounds. He is marked down at the 15-yard line. Nice grab by Kenny Stills and nice throw by Matt Moore.
And Kenny still working the right sideline. He's got different levels, Matt Moore does, looking at the receivers. Kenny Stills just working to the outside, placed to the outside. Very careful with the football was Matt Moore.
This is Ajayi. Ajayi changing direction, and now we have a whistle that blows the play dead.
Wondering if Rex Ryan was going to throw the challenge flag. It looks like he was able to get it thrown before the ball was snapped.
Our referee is Craig Rolstad.
Prior to the snap, Buffalo has challenged the ruling on the field of a completed catch at the sideline.
Wonder if Rex had trouble getting that challenge flag out before the play snapped. Let's take a look, Trent.
Well, Kenneth Stills appears to have his right foot still on the ground when he secures the catch. Then he gets the left toe down. I don't think there's enough to overturn this. I think the catch stays.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a catch at the sideline and a first down Miami. Buffalo will be charged with a first-team timeout.
So Buffalo loses the challenge, loses a timeout. You know, in talking with Miami coach Adam Gase this week, it's amazing how we talked about what a young team he has, and he says sometimes I look around and I realize how young we are, and it kind of drives me crazy.
It does when you have some of the mistakes that they've made, and you know he's a first-time head coach as well, so it's a give and take, and he's had to feel his way through this, starting the season 1-4, now getting on a hot run of 8 of the last 9 getting wins.
On first down from the 15-yard line, Ajayi to the 10. And Preston Brown bangs him out of bounds.
And that's what I think you're going to see a lot of from both of these teams is consistent running on first and second down, maybe mix in a little play action pass, and then on third down, if you can get it to third and short, you use a short step drop. Dolphins were fortunate on that last third down to pick up the first down because they were in third and long, and that was questionable field goal range with the win that we have here today.
2nd and 5 from the 10. Ajayi, left side. To the 5, gets a first down. It'll be first and goal. Now this Buffalo defense, terrific against the pass, not so much against the run. They give up almost 125 yards a game on the ground.
The Dolphins in a bunch formation to the left, keeping everybody in there tight. That's where they decide to run to. Most of the runs, if you think about it, Greg, most of the runs have gone to the left side of the offensive line. You put that bunch personnel in there, you try and get the small bodies over there because one of them being a wide receiver, 2 of them being tight ends. You can get smaller bodies to try and get the yards as they were able to pick up the first down.
Miami calls a timeout with 6.5 to play. We'll be back in 30 seconds. That kind of looks like our producer Jim Rickoff found his way out of the truck and into the stands.
We saw the guy dressed up as bacon, so we wanted to run after him as well.
Stumbling, Ajayi still fights off a tackler and gets to the end zone. That play started about as ugly as it possibly could, and Ajayi made it work.
Well, getting a chance to talk to Kyle Williams yesterday, he said, listen, Jay Ajayi is a good running back. What we did the first matchup, we didn't tackle well. We bounced off him too many times. We gave him too many second and third efforts, and that's what happened on that touchdown run. They had him tackled for a loss. Douzable has him in the backfield, not able to bring him down, and Ajayi just with those legs, the strength in his legs to get into the end zone.
Ajayi's 8th rushing touchdown of the season. Andrew Franks to add the extra point. And it is good. 6:24 to play in the first quarter. The Dolphins bust through first. Ajayi's touchdown run. The Dolphins lead at 7-0. Hey, hats off to Buffalo's Marcel Darius, who hosted his 2nd annual Christmas party last night at the Buffalo Niagara YMCA. Darius provided gifts for children and families, and his foundation made a generous donation to the local YMCA. Good for number 99.
You know, it's impressive what these guys do in the community, and especially around Christmas time. Marcel Darius taking care of the kids here in the community. Pretty impressive what he's able to give back, he and his family.
And it's a matter of fact that the negative stuff is always going to get more play than the positive things do.
It does. That's the sensational part of it, I guess. But a lot of good guys in this league, Marcel being one of them.
The touchback will mean the Bills will start from their own 25-yard line Tuesday on CBS. Celebrate the best of the best with your favorite stars on one stage for one spectacular event. The Kennedy Center Honors Tuesday at 9, 8 Central, only CBS. Miami Dolphins, for first quarter scoring, minus 62 points. That's the worst in the NFL. They get on top 7-0 here in the first. Taylor to throw. Got rid of it and broken up on the near sideline. And once again, Tony Lippett, this time breaking up the pass intended for Marquise Goodwin.
Excellent play by Lippett, driving on the ball, getting that left arm in there. You can see the hesitation, Tyrod Taylor sliding up in the pocket, so that throws the timing off. That allows Lippett to come back and drive on the football. If that ball's thrown on time, Goodwin has a clean catch or a clean opportunity to make the catch.
Buffalo still looking for its first down of the afternoon. Boy, slicing through some narrow openings on the right side. Neville Hewitt makes the stop. A pickup of 8. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Excellent job by the offensive line, kicking out and creating a big lane for McCoy to get through.
Looks like a little confusion now on the offensive side for Buffalo. They're still waiting for additions, and there's changes being made, and the play clock is now down to 12, 11, and 10. This isn't going to work. Timeout is necessary, and it's Buffalo's second here in the first half. You know, I remember I asked you yesterday at the walkthrough, Trent, what's the purpose of a walkthrough? And that's one of the things.
That is, it's personnel. You asked, what's it do for the timing of plays? It really doesn't do anything for the timing of plays. Number one, it's to get the players up and moving around, get them on their feet. You do some of the mental gymnastics that goes into getting ready for a game. But more than anything, it's about that. It's about the substitutions that take place, whether you're putting an extra offensive lineman in. Hey, if a linebacker or defensive back goes down on the punt return, who's going to be his placement? Who's ready on the sideline to make those substitutions in special teams more than anything? But we saw that was an impact there as the Bills had to waste another timeout.
3rd and 2. Taylor. And this is Felton out of the backfield. He gets the first down and is pulled back. But his forward progress will be marked at the 40 or at the 38-yard line. But it's enough for a first down. Donald Butler was the defender pulling McCoy back.
Well, and this was a very similar throw that we saw him make to McCoy that was tackle for a loss. This time Felton able to secure it and get the first down. Not as much attention placed on Felton going out of the backfield to catch the ball as it was with McCoy, who had 2 defenders on him when they tried it the first time.
Number 35, Mike Gillisley, makes his first appearance of the day in the backfield. He gets a handoff and right up the middle to the 45-yard line. Gillisley, a 3rd round or 3rd season vet out of Florida, who's run the ball very well in relief of McCoy.
Well, and you have to get a rotation. When McCoy gets as many touches as he does, you can't expect him to be able to put up with that pounding throughout the entire season. Gillisley giving him nice balance.
On 2nd and 3, they will keep it on the ground and begin with Gillisley. And Gillisley gets a first down to about the 49-yard line. And Ndamukong Suh with the stop. Well, these Buffalo Bills, as we mentioned at the very beginning, the number 1 rushing offense in the NFL.
Well, and it's the yards per carry. It's the big yards, big gains that they get. 23 rushing attempts of over 20 yards. So they are continue to do these short little runs, and then occasionally they'll pop one, and they're best in the National Football League at those bigger runs.
McCoy is back in the backfield and gets the handoff up the middle and makes his way to about the 46-yard line of the Miami Dolphins. Kiko Alonso making the stop.
Well, Kiko Alonso, Buffalo Bill fans know he was drafted by the Bills. His rookie season was the Pro Football Writers of America's Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. The following year, he was hurt and traded to the Eagles. And then the Eagles in the trade down to the Dolphins. That's what puts him in the middle of this Dolphins defense, going head-to-head with the guy that they were swapped for a couple years ago, LaShawn McCoy.
On 2nd and 5, the flip for the screen to McCoy. And McCoy inside the 45 to the 44. That'll leave Buffalo with a 3rd and about 3.
Well, a lot of attempted misdirection by the Buffalo Bills. Fake the handoff, fake the reverse, try and get the defense flowing. It didn't work, as the Dolphins defense was well aware of where McCoy was.
Gillisley back in the backfield on 3rd and 3. Taylor, quick shot to the far side, and that is Felton. Felton for a first down. Out of bounds at the 35-yard line, so another Buffalo first down.
Well, I think that's an indication the Dolphins defense need to start being aware of Felton, especially on third down. This is 2 third downs in a row where he's been able to get out in space. The first one, the swing out of the backfield. This time just a flash fake, and he releases out into the flat, picking up 2 key first downs for the Bills on this drive.
Second reception by Felton today. He came in having caught only 4 passes all season long. Gillislee picking his way to about the 30-yard line. Isa Abdul Kudus from the secondary making the tackle.
Well, Gillislee showing a little shake there as well, showing a little a la McCoy when he got the ball, give a little juke to pick up some extra yards. I tend to think of him more of as a power guy, get his shoulders down and go get the yards. That time he gave a little stutter before taking off.
McCoy back in on 2nd and 5.
Ready up.
Taylor going to go for it all down the far sideline. It is incomplete. Fans want a flag. There is none. Marquise Goodwin covered by Xavier Howard. Now there's a officials conference on the far side.
Well, Goodwin looking for the pass interference call.
The fans taking a look at the replay you just saw.
Well, and Howard not able to get around. That probably has the reason why the fans are as irritated as anything. He doesn't turn around to try and locate the ball. Tyrod Taylor trying to get it to Goodwin, who has that Olympic-type speed.
3rd and 5, they're going to run out of time. This will be a delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
One of the reasons why you don't want to carry on extended arguments with the officials is that clock continues to run.
Well, and that's why you can't do it. That's where you have to have the discipline from the sideline standpoint to get the play in instead of waiting to see if the play is going to get a pass interference, or maybe getting caught up watching the replays as opposed to getting the play in, getting the personnel in that needs to be on the field.
So now it's 3rd and 10. Bills 2 for 2 converting third downs on this drive. Taylor. And this is McCoy out of the backfield, looking for running room inside the 30 to the 27. That'll be about 2 yards short. And let's see, the field goal unit is hesitating on the sideline.
Now they decide to sit him out. Well, a lot of times as a coaching staff, you have to decide, okay, did he make it to a 4th and 1 or maybe 1.5? When it's all of a sudden 4 and 3, that gets a little 4th and 2.5, 4th and 3. That's a little iffier proposition. So I think that's why there was a hesitation. They wanted to know for sure exactly how many yards it was.
Dan Carpenter, the ex-Miami Dolphin, from 46 yards out, pushed it, and it is no good. So with a half minute remaining in the first quarter, Carpenter fails to get 3 on the board. Miami still leads by 7. Those are the numbers we told you about just a few minutes ago. It makes it probably even more important that Miami gets off to the good start. And did we talk about this possibly being chippy today, Trent?
Jordan Mills and Andre Brandt's getting after it a little bit. And watch who just happens to walk in. Oh, Richie Incognito. I'm going to give it a little bump, a little tap to the head.
This is Ajayi trying the left side. Plows his way to the 40-yard line. That looks like that may do it for the first quarter. We'll see in how much of a hurry they are to get another snap off there or not. Matt Moore's going to take a walk to the sideline.
Well, Greg, you and I talked about coming into this game. This was going to be a physical game. Neither of these teams like each other. Division opponents. They face each other twice a year, and we saw a little bit of that chippiness after the missed field goal.
For only the 3rd time this season, Miami finishes up the first quarter with the lead. They lead at 7-0. We're coming back to Buffalo right after this. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Welcome back, everyone, to the start of the second quarter. 7-0 Miami. And on 2nd and 6, the give is to Ajayi, right side, turning the corner and gets the first down. Mr. Ajayi off to a good start.
Well, he's been impressive this entire game. Not only the play he just had to pick up the first down, but the last series, getting the touchdown several times, getting big runs. This time breaking through 2 tackles and getting into the end zone for the Dolphins lead.
9 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown so far. And for Miami, a first down at their own 48. In pretty good field position all day long so far.
Well, that's a problem with going for the field goal as the Bills did. If you miss it, you are giving the Dolphins good field position.
Ajayi dancing in and out. Look at that move to get to the 45. Hey, thought your fantasy season was over? It is not. Sign up free and you could win a trip to Super Bowl 52. Join today at NFL.com/playoff challenge.
Well, now that you cross midfield, you got yourself into second and short. This would be a great opportunity to get a play fake and try and get over the top with the big play.
All the receivers at the bottom of the screen. Kenyon Drake in the backfield. Drake with the handoff. And goes the other way. Lots of running room in that direction. Down the sideline for the touchdown.
When I said big play, I thought they were going to get a play action over the top. The Dolphins are like, why would we go to a play action pass when our running game is working so well? This play is intended to run to the left. Drake recognizes there's nowhere to go. He gets collision in the backfield. Matt Moore gets out, gives him a block, and then Kenny Stills down the field, allows him to get into the end zone.
The defense obviously lopsided to the near side of the field and just couldn't catch up.
Well, they were heavily weighted because of the formation the Dolphins had, and then the run starts that direction, so the flow and the pursuit is going to go that way, and quick change of direction by Drake gets down that sideline.
Drake's second rushing touchdown of the season. And Andrew Franks adds the extra point. 45 yards by Kenyon Drake. He had 113 on the year coming in. 14-0 Miami. Miami Dolphins, they need 2 wins, and they are in the postseason no matter what else happens. And look at the playoff picture. New England and Oakland are in. Pittsburgh and Houston division leaders. Kansas City and Miami holding down the 2 wild card spots so far. Baltimore needs to win out in order to make it to the postseason.
Lots of exciting football here the next couple weeks, and Buffalo has to get things turned around here if they want to make this one exciting.
Brandon Tate is deep. This is a line drive kick, going to bounce inside the 10. And this is Mike Gillislee. Gillislee tripped up as he reached the 20, lost the football, but appeared to cover it at about the 22 or 23-yard line. Michael Thomas making the tackle. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days. By Domino's. Order online at domino's.com. By Amazon Prime. Get free 2-day shipping on millions of items. And by Verizon. It's always a great gift on Verizon. So the Bills trying to rally the troops here from their own 23-yard line. Taylor over the middle. And over the 30 to about the 32 is Charles Clay. To the NFL today, JB and Martin.
Flawless Mariota in the red zone.
Mariota 33-0 in the red zone for his career. He finds Rashard Matthews for the 3-yard score to close the lead. Jacksonville up 7-10.
Back to Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Jamie Erdahl.
All right, guys, thank you. Do not lose sight of those Tennessee Titans, some talented ball players. Coming to the near side is Tyrod Taylor. Remember, we were talking with Tyrod yesterday. How many scripted runs do you have? He goes, about 10.
Well, and that was one of those scripted runs where it was just a read option. You're trying to read the defensive end, then get to the outside, and you're optioning the corner. And if you look at the majority of his yards, it's when the pocket breaks down and he's able to find some lanes or the attention is drawn to LaShawn McCoy, and he's able to get out the backside of the defense.
How many scripted runs did you have?
Oh, maybe like 2 or 3.
There you go.
But that had to be short yardage and goal line.
Lots of time, and he's going to throw it deep and overthrows his intended receiver, Marquise Goodwin. And Taylor ended up on the turf.
Jordan Phillips applying the pressure for the Dolphins as he gets the hit on Taylor as he releases it. Taylor throwing that ball a little bit sooner than he wanted to, but understanding the pressure was coming and tried to anticipate and lay it to the outside.
On 2nd and 10, it'll be McCoy, and McCoy gets up ahead of speed and runs out of bounds as we get a penalty marker down.
Holding offense, number 76. It's a 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
John Miller, the right guard, is guilty of the hold.
See Miller with that right arm wrapped around Mario Williams. Then he gets it up around his neck. Easy call for the officials.
So pretty much a hold all over.
That's right.
So now it's a 2nd and 20. Good time, throws to the outside. McCoy. And look at the Dolphins surroundings with Sean McCoy. Spencer Paysinger, the one making the tackle, could have been any one of 5 guys.
Well, that's the 7th completion for Tyrod Taylor. 6 of the 7 have gone to the running backs out of the backfield. McCoy and Felton, 1 going to Clay, the tight end, and just haven't gotten the wide receivers involved at all. If you're going to try and make some distance up, you got to make these 2nd long, 3rd and longs. You got to start getting the wide receivers involved in the passing game.
I saw a look at defensive coordinator Vance Joseph on the sideline. Taylor, all kinds of time again. This side of the field, grab across midfield by Sammy Watkins for the 1st down.
Well, I guess all I had to do was ask for a wide receiver to get involved here against the Dolphins, trying to go to a cover 2. They're able to find a window in that gap between the safety and corner, and Tyrod Taylor lays it perfectly to the sideline, allowing Watkins to get both feet down.
20-yard pickup and a 1st down, and this is Gillisley. Going back to our conversation with Rex Ryan, Rex is always a very colorful conversationalist, and we talked about Sammy Watkins. He says, I don't know how a guy can run around out there with a broken foot, but he does.
Well, and you saw how many games he missed. I think it was 7 games earlier this year with that broken foot, and he's trying to muscle his way through, trying to deal with the pain. Rex told us and shared with us, he doesn't think it's 100% healthy, but Sammy wants to be out there with his teammates and contribute, and quite an effort on that catch.
Gillisley tripped up and down at the 40, about 2 yards short of a 1st down. The tackle is made by Jason Jones. I think this is the easiest time in the world for the coaches. When you get playoff time and you have to win, you really don't have to say much to a team.
You don't. It's when you're still mathematically alive, and the Bills still are. I mean, there's some things that have to go their way, but you get the guys motivated to play, and because it's the Dolphins, that's extra motivation.
This is Gillisley, and Gillisley is going to be brought to a stop about a yard short of a 1st down.
Well, I think you're going to go for it here. I don't think there's any hesitation whatsoever.
Yep. Rex is pointing downfield. So they will go for it here on 4th and 1. 9.5 to play in the 1st half.
Well, last time was about 4th and 3, 4th and 2.5. They decided to kick the field goal, and Carpenter's kick got caught up in the wind, and the wind just blew it as it pushed right. Now we're going in the other direction. You see Tyrod Taylor, he's looking over to the sidelines with his arms up in the air, not sure what the call is.
And the play clock down to 5. Right side is Gillisley, and let's see where forward progress is marked. This is going to be
well, that's a really good spot. It's going to be close, Greg.
But it also looks to be a little bit short. He was close, but the official running in right here from the near side is coming up short.
Well, and the actual chains are on the far side on the Dolphins sideline. So based on that angle and where the chains were set on the Dolphins sideline, it looks like it'll be short. See Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator, giving a fist pump because he believes it's short also.
I may be correct for the first time all year. It is short. It is short, and the Dolphins take over. 8:48 to play in the first half. We remind you, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB and the guys with all the latest scores, highlights, playoff information, scenarios, etc. coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. It's the time of year back in the studio, Trent, when those guys get really busy.
Very busy. The playoff mix, trying to keep everything coordinated and understand who needs what to win. And
this is a giant for about a yard or two, and we check in with Jamie.
Greg, Adam Gase gave us some pretty good insight into the transformation that's gone on in the Dolphins quarterback room ever since Ryan Tannehill was injured a few weeks ago. Usually Tannehill is the serious guy in that room. He takes game planning very seriously. Now, Matt Moore keeps that quarterback room light. However, since the injury, Adam Gase says it's been helpful for these guys to have the role reversal a little bit. Matt Moore is the one with that headset on now under center, and Tannehill, and he said it's good for Tannehill to get his personality out a little bit and take things a little lighter.
All right, Jamie, thank you. High snap. Moore handles it, rolls and throws, and tipped by number 91, Leger Douzable. Matt Moore went a heck of a long time between victories, and these are the guys who spent the most time between wins with the same franchise, going all the way back to Vince Evans.
How about
Gary
that?
Kubiak.
Look at that, number of days. Gary Kubiak, very impressive.
There's a book here somewhere about life as a backup quarterback. 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7, the Buffalo fans are alive. Moore, plenty of time, over the middle, broken up. Stephon Gilmore broke it up. The pass intended for Devontae Parker.
Plenty of time for Matt Moore as he stands in the pocket. The Bills start off rushing 5, and then they fall off and only rush 4. That ball a little bit behind. Just if he had gotten that out a couple more feet in front for Parker, but Gilmore getting that right arm in and knocking it away, forcing the punt.
Pretty good defensive stand for the Buffalo Bills.
Much needed defensive stand, Greg.
Tate is deep. And calls for the fair catch and makes the fair catch at his own 21-yard line. 7:51 to play in the first half. Buffalo needs to get something going offensively. Hey, New Year's Day here on CBS. When someone is kidnapped, this is the team that brings them back alive. Catch the series premiere of the new thriller Ransom Sunday, the 1st of January, after 60 minutes only. CBS. 14-0 Dolphins. There is Rex Ryan. So many questions going on about him, and you know, I don't know what ownership or management is going to determine about him. I kind of think 2 seasons isn't enough for a coach to really get things going the way he wants to go. Taylor through the hands of McCoy, incomplete.
Well, and I agree with you, Greg. I think when you look at Rex Ryan, he's been here now. This is to be wrapping up his 2nd season. He's 500 as a head coach for the Buffalo Bills, and if you consider the number of injuries they've had and how they've been able to keep this team together, number of players missing on the defense and offensive side of the ball. I know there have been a lot of reports around there, a lot of speculation about him getting fired. I don't think that's the right move. I think you keep him around for that 3rd year. He still has 3 years left on his contract, but I think you keep him around for a 3rd year and find out what he can do with a healthy roster.
Jerome Felton is being looked at on the near sideline as he has walked off, and over on the other side of the field, they're getting a look at Neville Hewitt. Change has been almost the order of the day here every few years.
Well, and that's why you just need some consistency. That's why I stated I don't think 2 years is enough time. The players are still playing hard for him, and when you consider how many guys they've got off the street that they've had to sign because of injuries and other issues, they bring guys in, and Rex Ryan, as I said, sitting at 500, about giving one more year, because as you just mentioned, some consistency is a good thing, not only for the players, but the organization as a whole.
On 2nd and 10, Taylor throws, sideline complete. We have a penalty marker in the backfield. Robert Woods made the catch, but let's check the flag. It's going to go back. It's going to be a holding call on the Bills.
Holding. Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty replay. Second out.
The right tackle, Jordan Mills.
You see him on the right side of the screen here. He's just going to get that right arm up around the neck of Terrence Fede. Easy call for the officials as Taylor tries to break, contain, and get to the outside.
And that wipes out a 20-yard pickup. It's 2nd and 20 now. This is McCoy. And McCoy out close to the 20 before Ndamukong Suh chases him down. There's a familiar face here to Buffalo fans and a sign of the great years that the Bills enjoyed here. Jim Kelly.
Talk about consistency and stability at the quarterback position. Great player for many, many years. As you mentioned, a Hall of Fame player. Tough.
Here's a 3rd and 12. Taylor with good time. Now on the move and going to run. And has lots of room in front of him. Gets a first down and more. Out of bounds near the 40-yard line. They'll mark him out at the 42. And that is part of what Tyrod Taylor brings to the table, 23 yards.
Well, and the Dolphins went to a man-to-man with a zone deep, so you're trying to play a man under coverage, and nobody's assigned to the quarterback, which is really rare when you're playing the Buffalo Bills and Tyrod Taylor. You usually have somebody as a spy if you're going to go to a man-to-man coverage. Miami just gets pinned inside and allows him to get to the outside and get down that sideline for a big first down.
This is McCoy. And McCoy across the 45 to about the 48-yard line. Jerome Felton is back in the lineup for Buffalo, having been looked at briefly on the sideline.
Well, Greg, they've had to get away from some of those inside runs that we saw him do so much in the first quarter because of penalties. All of a sudden, you get a 2nd and 20, you get a 3rd and 14, you get 3rd and 11s, you get 2nd and 13s. All of a sudden, you take away that inside run where you're chipping away at those 5- and 6-yard gains and hoping that McCoy can suddenly break that into a bigger game.
On 2nd and 4, it'll be McCoy again. Cuts inside of his block, gets a first down and a lot more. Inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line where Michael Thomas makes the stop. What a nice move by LeSean McCoy, 14 yards.
Keep an eye on 42, Jerome Felton, as he gets to the outside and he kicks it out. So McCoy is able to bounce it to the inside. Felton is such a big factor in LeSean McCoy's gains because he's able to get that initial tackler out of the way, letting McCoy get to that second level.
47 yards on the ground now for LeSean McCoy, and Gillislee gives him a break. Taylor has time, going for it all to the end zone, and it is caught. Sammy Watkins, touchdown.
This is why Rex Ryan said it's important for Sammy Watkins to be on the field. No matter how healthy he is, he's a difference maker in the passing game. A year ago, Tyrod Taylor was averaging 8 yards per attempt. He secures that ball. There's no bobble with the football as he goes to the ground. He gets both feet in bounds.
First glance, Trent, I thought he had overthrown Watkins.
I did too. I know exactly what you're thinking. As that ball left his hands, Watkins wasn't in the clear, able to accelerate and make the touchdown grab.
Extra point by Carpenter is good. And just like that, Buffalo cuts Miami's lead in half. Tyrod Taylor with the touchdown pass. 38 yards. It's 14-7 Miami. the touchdown pass, Trent.
Well, and the important thing, this is an unusual throw because they have 3 receivers all running in the same area, but they're trying to get Sammy Watkins, 14, matched up on corner, Xavier Howard to the outside, and when you're able to get one-on-one, the reason you go 3 guys that vertical is because you're trying to hold safety Michael Thomas in the middle of the field. So why would you have 3 receivers together? You hold the safety, you get one-on-one on the outside, and they have the ability. Watkins has the ability to accelerate as he did there and make the catch.
And 5:06 to play here in the first half. As a look at the NFC playoff situation, Dallas and Seattle in, Atlanta, Detroit, division leaders, and the Giants and Green Bay holding down the first 2 wild cards. Can't count Tampa Bay out. Can't count Washington out.
Great time of year with all these games coming down to the final 2 weeks. A lot of shuffling will be going on between this weekend and next weekend.
Yeah, we'll be coming to you for about a half an hour to explain everything.
That's right.
Ajayi in the backfield. Moore on the move to the sideline. And it is incomplete. Intended for Jarvis Landry. Ronald Darby was covering.
Jarvis Landry at the top of this route. It's a bootleg coming to him. Watch how he slips coming out of the cut. You'll see him go to make his cut. He actually slips, puts his hand down. Not able to secure that ball as he's falling out of bounds. When I initially saw him slip, I didn't think he was going to get up and have a chance. I thought maybe the Bills were going to get an interception, but impressive on Landry's part to get his hand down and keep his feet and come back and get his hands on it.
Pretty much rained all night here in Buffalo into the morning and stopped about an hour and a half or so before game time. Ajayi will try the near side. What a great job he does of waiting for his blocks, doesn't he, Trent?
Well, it was, and I honestly thought Deion Sims was going to get called on a holding call. Lined up on the left side. He had that left hand hooked underneath the pads of the outside rusher. Looks like it was Lorenzo Alexander that he had his hand up underneath his pad. Watch on the right side of your screen right here. See how he gets that hooked, and because Alexander came off and made the tackle, maybe that's why it wasn't called, but it looked like he held him enough. I thought a flag was going to come out.
Matt Moore went all the way to the sideline to get the play call, and that's why he's behind the 8 ball here. 3, 2, got the snap. Under pressure, quick pass. And looking for a first down and spinning is Deion Sims. And he probably has it just across the 35-yard line.
Well, when this ball was initially released, I thought there was no chance that he was going to pick up the first down. And see him on the left side of your screen. He just blocks real quickly. It's a tight end screen. 4 defenders right there to make the tackle. Kyle Williams comes in late, but not until the first down was picked up.
3:45 to play in the first half. Ajayi. You mentioned it earlier. These Bills know the problem that they've had with missed tackles.
Well, they mentioned it to us. They talked to us about it. They said, listen, we can't have that same type of performance against Ajayi or any of the Dolphins for that matter and expect to come out with a win. There have been a number of missed tackles already on the 2 touchdowns by the Dolphins, and then there on a key third down, not getting Sims wrapped up.
As we get closer to halftime, you know what we're going to say. It feels like Miami is letting Buffalo kind of hang around a little bit. Ajayi again. Look at that dance to find the hole and get close to first down yardage, and we have a penalty marker down.
Holding. Offense. Number 70. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay. Second down.
That holding call is on the right tackle, Jawan James. I believe that's the first penalty on the Miami Dolphins today.
Well, and that's a costly penalty because it would have been 3rd and 1. Now all of a sudden it bounces them back to 2nd and extremely long.
Second and 18. Quick pass. Landry slipped, regained his balance, trying to come back the other way. Landry with running room. 40. and down at about the 42 or 43-yard line. Zach Brown, Corey Graham converged to make the tackle.
This is impressive individual effort. You mentioned he slipped, goes down, keeps that hand, keeps his feet alive, is able to make the cutback. You can see they're taking the aggressiveness of the Bills defense and they're over pursuit. It happened earlier on Drake's long touchdown run when he was able to change direction. It happened that time for Landry as he worked his way across the field.
15-yard pickup will leave Miami with a 3rd and 3 when we come back after the 2-minute warning. 14-7 Dolphins. There's the other half of the brothers Ryan.
It's interesting having both of them on the same field together. See all the different teams that Rob has been a defensive coordinator of, coming in to assist his brother with the Buffalo Bills. That in addition to Dennis Thurman, the defensive coordinator, trying to get a big 3rd down stop here.
Yeah, let's see how that defense does here on 3rd and 3. Moore going to throw for it. Outside, a little high and a little behind Damian Williams, his intended receiver.
Well, and they're fortunate that ball didn't tip up in the air and Buffalo was able to get the interception and go the other way. Anytime you throw it high out into the flat and you have a defender behind, that's a scary proposition. So that tip up in the air. We do this all season. Anytime I see a ball tipped around the middle of the field, I look at you, I hold my breath. I'm like, oh gosh, that brings back some bad memories.
Brandon Tate back at his own 15 for Matt Darr's kick. And he's going to let it bounce. And it takes a Miami roll to the 15-yard line. Buffalo starting off. 2 punts, missed the field goal, turned it over on downs, and scored the touchdown.
Well, yeah, you look at, they were able to get some things going here the last 3 possessions. You mentioned the missed field goal. Some people in the stands with the grumblings want them to go for it on 4th and 3. Then they decided to go for it on the next series, got stopped on 4th and 1, and then they went down and were able to get the touchdown. Big touchdown pass from Tyrod Taylor to Watkins.
And a chart like that is worth watching because maybe it's an indicator you're figuring the defense out as the game goes along.
You're starting to, but now with under 2 minutes to go and only the 1 timeout, you can't call this drive the same as you did the other 3.
Taylor running out of time, had to throw it away. Just a reminder for you, coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JV and the guys back in New York with scores, highlights, and everything else. NFL coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Well, it's important to remember why they only have 1 timeout left. Earlier, they challenged the play in the first quarter. Kenny Stills, did he get his feet inbounds? Yes, it was inbounds, so that took 1 timeout away. Then they had a personnel issue that caused them to burn a 2nd timeout, so that's what leaves them only with 1.
Taylor, little pump fake, and now throwing. Watkins slipped, and the pass is intercepted. And no, it's going to be ruled incomplete. He did not take it cleanly. Bakari Rambo. Watkins looked to be all set to pull it in and then lost his footing.
Well, and Greg, you mentioned a minute ago how heavy the rains were last night and into the morning. We've already seen several times today the footing issues. That time the ball is underthrown. Watkins tries to plant to come back. He slips down. They're able to tip the ball up in the air. Clearly that ball hits the ground.
3rd and 10. Taylor under pressure and going down inside the 5. Cameron Wake make it 11.5 sacks on the season.
Well, and that's the Dolphins getting a quick timeout. That's smart with the sack down inside the 5. I thought Taylor had a chance to slide up in the pocket, but with that angle, you see Sue in the middle of the field.
A timeout back in half a minute. Jarvis Landry is deep for the punt. Just got it away, and Landry, midfield, 40, and brought up short of the 35-yard line with 1:11 to play.
Well, minute 11 to play, and that 1 timeout they still possess, so Matt Moore can still use the middle of the field And when now you're condensed in this part of the field, not only can you use the middle of the field, you can also, because the field is shortened, you can get your guys up to the ball and spike it as well. So he's got a full repertoire of plays that he can go with and not worry about the time right now.
Is that the first time all year you've used repertoire?
I think so.
I think it is.
I saved it for the holidays.
You know, the quarterbacks have done today. Tyrod Taylor, as you would expect, with the edge in rushing yards.
Neither quarterback particularly accurate so far today. Been some slips, receivers going down, and some tip balls.
Moore with time over the middle, and it is almost intercepted at the 20-yard line, in and out of the hands of Ronald Darby.
Well, we just saw the Dolphins miss an interception on a tipped ball. This time, Moore trying to squeeze one in over the middle. That ball's tipped and bobbled. Zach Brown's the one that gets his hand on the ball.
Darby was that close to his first pick of the year. 2nd and 10 with 1:06 to play in the half. Give it to Ajayi, and Ajayi down to the 25, and that's a first down.
Well, you can go up here and spike the ball, or they're not spiking the ball. They're just, because of the run play, you have everybody grouped together. Receivers aren't downfield trying to get back, so go ahead and call a play and get a snap ball.
Moore, sideline pass, low and incomplete. Kenny Stills, intended receiver.
Well, we just showed the graphic of the two quarterback comparisons, and neither quarterback has been very efficient in terms of their completion percentage. We've seen some errant throws. The previous series, we saw Tyrod Taylor on the deep ball being a little short with it. That time there, Matt Moore is on the back shoulder, and the receiver's not able to keep his feet and come back for it. We talked about the rain. The rain's not happening right now, but because it's on the field, do the balls, when they get snapped up to the quarterback, are they wet when it gets in their hands? It's definitely affecting the grip and the accuracy.
Moore on 2nd and 10, gonna go for it all to the end zone. Intercepted in the end zone by Corey White.
Well, and that's a decision that Matt Moore can't make, understanding that you're already in field goal range. You can go into the half and get points. He lays this ball down the middle of the field. Really no chance for his receiver to come up for it. Kenny Stills is the one in the middle of the field. Corey White right in position for the interception. Matt Moore's got to understand, they deferred the coin toss. They were going to get the ball first coming out in the second half. Use the clock, go ahead and get the field goal. It gives you momentum coming into the half, knowing that you're getting the ball first coming out in the second half. So you have to understand that entire thing.
Matt Moore started the day throwing the ball, completing 3 out of 5. He is now 2 for his last 9, including the interception. This is McCoy. And McCoy, running room left side, has a first down to the 33. Bills with 1 timeout remaining. And the clock continues to move, coming up on 15 seconds to play. Taylor, short one over the middle, and that is complete to Robert Woods. And they use a timeout to stop the clock with 5 seconds to play. We'll take a quick break, come back in 30 seconds, don't go away. 14-7 Miami. This could quite possibly be the last play of the first half. A little razzle-dazzle. McCoy goes to the sideline, but doesn't get there before the time expires here in the first half. Some boos raining down from the Buffalo fans, but a look at the scoreboard tells you they are not that far off. 14-7, Miami in the lead. We'll be back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back to Buffalo, everyone. There is your halftime score. Miami leading the Bills by a 14-7 count. Greg Gumbel along with Trent Green. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like Miami started strong, and despite Ajayi running very well, Buffalo slowly began to recover from that first touchdown score against them.
Wait, they have, and you're correct on that. I thought Miami jumped out very fast and were going to take complete control of this game, but they missed some opportunities, and Buffalo was able to get back in it, especially with that long touchdown pass we just saw from Tyrod Taylor to Sammy Watkins, who accelerated and was able to catch up to the ball and get his feet inbounds in the back of the end zone.
As we take a look at the first half stats, what do you think is the main difference in this game right now?
Well, I think for Buffalo, the main thing has been their missed tackles and their over pursuit on defense. I think they've been super aggressive with their angles and with their defense, and sometimes that's cost them when you think about the backside runs that have happened because of it.
To remind you, follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Let's go down to Jamie.
Greg, a big theme from the first matchup between these two teams was Miami's run offense. Now, Rex Ryan talked about it all week, making sure they were able to shut that down, but the Bills have allowed over 8 yards per rush in the first half. Rex Ryan told me they have to set the edge more on defense. Now, Adam Gase had a couple interesting comments coming out of the half. He said he didn't get into a rhythm enough with Matt Moore, which he felt like he was taking responsibility for some of Moore's miscues. And along that line of the Dolphins giving this half away in that first half, he said that's because at first they were playing ahead of the sticks. They were taking advantage of some of those third and longs, but the game started to get away from them, and they got to get back on track.
Thank you, Jamie. The one thing you pointed out, Trent, at halftime is you just thought that was a huge mistake for Matt Moore, that interception at the tail end of the first half.
Well, just because you can get momentum going into the half, and it's a double dip. You get the ball at the end of the half, and then you come out and you get the ball first in the second half. A lot will be seen what happens here. Adam Gase, we just heard from Jamie, trying to get Matt Moore into a rhythm on this first drive.
So the Dolphins will start from their own 25. We mentioned Ajayi, 14 carries, 81 yards, and a touchdown. And, of course, you can't help but flash back to that 214 that he had in Week 7 against the Bills.
Well, in that 214, majority of those yards came in the second half, so we'll see what adjustments the Buffalo Bills make to try and keep him hemmed in. I can tell you the one adjustment they need to make is tackling him. They had him in the backfield for loss on a couple of occasions and not able to bring him down as he turned those into big games.
Okay, is that one of those things where I can say easy for you to say?
That's right. Well, Kyle Williams, we just saw a look at him. He was the one that told us that. He said, we did a good job last time defensively. We just got to wrap him up and get him down and not let him continue to power through some of those arm tackles.
Ajayi in the backfield. Ajayi gets the handoff, loses his footing up in the end. And he has about a 1-yard gain. This is what we're talking about with the Bills missing tackles.
Well, Ajayi here, this is the first touchdown run. He's sacked in the back, or tackled in the backfield for a 5-yard loss. He's able to break through, and then Drake on his touchdown run gets through the first missed tackle and then is able, because of the over pursuit of the defense. Here's Landry, the over pursuit of the defense once again. Those have been the two major problems, missed tackles and their aggressiveness on defense. They've over pursued, allowing those cutbacks.
Ajayi pushing forward, and he'll be marked right at the 40-yard line, and see if this is enough for a first down. It is.
I'd like to sit here and give all that credit to Ajayi, but that's unrealistic, because there was at least 3 offensive linemen in there pushing the pile, and he's not going down, so it keeps going, and was able to get the first down.
Nice 5-3. No, nice 5-2. Hey.
Ajayi again. You mentioned Kyle Williams, the now 5-time Pro Bowler. Interesting, the gamut of the conversation that we had with him was not only football, it included swimming, included baseball.
It's amazing how well-rounded of an athlete he was growing up down in Louisiana, and his athleticism and how he's carried it over into an incredible 11-year career in the National Football League.
It included Louisiana dialect. 2nd and 10.
Here we go, Mike. Where you go? 180.
Short drop for Moore, and the quick pass is complete, but it's going nowhere. Devontae Parker on the receiving end, and well played by Ronald Darby, the cornerback on that side.
Well, if you're Adam Gase, and as he told Jamie at halftime, he wants to get Matt Moore into a rhythm. He didn't feel like he got him in any kind of rhythm. Get some of those quick passes, get the ball, make them simple throws. That time just the hits to the outside, now bringing up a 3rd and 6.
Boy, this place has gotten noisy, and you can see the troubles occasionally that Matt Moore is having getting the play called in from the sideline. 3rd and 6. Moore looks left. That's complete. That's a first down and more for Devontae Parker down the sideline for the touchdown.
Well, I think we've stressed it enough. When we talked about it coming out at the second half, we showed a graphic of all the missed tackles that have happened for the Buffalo Bills, and it continues on this play. Moore is staring down to his left, and then he picks up Parker, who's on a drag route from right to left. He hits him in stride, and what happens again? The Bills, with a missed tackle, allows Parker to get free, and then he strides it out down the sideline.
56 yards. That's the 3rd time in this past 2 weeks that Matt Moore has thrown a touchdown pass of 50 or more yards. Point is good. 12:05 to play in the 3rd. And whatever momentum the Dolphins might have lost, they just regained in a hurry. 5 plays, 70 yards. The 56-yard touchdown pass to Devontae Parker, and the Dolphins regain their 2-touchdown lead. Brandon Tate. Will he get to return this one? He will. On the run for 2. Across the 20 and no more. He'll be marked down at about the 23-yard line. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. By Mobile Strike. Download and play now, free from the App Store. And by Ram Trucks, America's longest lasting pickups. You look at shots from the 1999 Buffalo Bills group as LaShawn McCoy breaks free. That 99 team, the last Bills team to reach the playoffs. Doug Flutie, Eric Moles, Wade Phillips and company went 11-5 before losing to the Titans on the Music City Miracle play in the AFC wildcard game. If you were on the other side, that would just break your heart, wouldn't it, Trent?
That would be crushing, especially when you see how that's developed over the years, and the fact that Tennessee was able to carry it into the Super Bowl that season after getting that win.
On 2nd and 1, McCoy brought up short by Andre Branch.
Well, McCoy on 1st down, getting a nice 8-yard run, having the patience in the cutback, and that time Branch just wrapping him up in the backfield for a loss. Important for Buffalo to get this conversion here, trying to get some kind of momentum back from the Bills. They took away the momentum going into the half, and then, of course, Parker's big touchdown catch to open up the second half, kind of calm things down in the stadium a little bit.
They throw it to McCoy out of the backfield, and McCoy gets the first down. Out of bounds right at that first down marker.
Dolphins bringing pressure off of both edges. That isolates or leaves McCoy one-on-one out in the open field. Hewitt not able to make that tackle.
Trent, tough enough to play this game. How about when the defense expects you to touch the ball maybe 2 out of every 3 offensive plays?
They're definitely dialed in on it, and yet still look at the numbers he's got. He's got 10 rushes for 68 yards already and 5 catches as well.
Taylor this way, and then across the 40, Charles Clay. Now, Charles Clay may be the most sociable Buffalo Bill of them all.
It was great having him in our production meeting, talking about his time in Miami, also now his 2nd season here in Buffalo, just his production, what he thinks of Tyrod Taylor, how his feelings about Rex Ryan, and of course he liked the lunch spread that we have, so he hung out a little bit longer.
Didn't mind sitting down and having lunch with us. shooting the breeze for an extra half hour. This is Gillislee, and Gillislee going to try to turn the corner on the far side, and he gets the first down. Run down by Michael Thomas, but not before he made first down yardage to about the 45-yard line, maybe the 46.
Well, I was impressed with the way Gillislee ran in the first half, and now this time just showing his speed to get around the edge. You can see the heavy pursuit by the Dolphins that time, just not able to get him before he gets the first down.
9:20 to play in the third, and Buffalo trying to chop into that 2-touchdown lead. Taylor looks left, throws left, and that is complete to the tight end Clay. We were giving Charles Clay a little static when he was playing tight end for the Miami Dolphins. They had run out of numbers in the 80s. And he said he wore the 40s, and he also was a fullback at the time.
Yeah, he said the transition as far as fullback, tight end, it's helped him from a blocking because a lot of it is just the footwork aspect of it, and he felt he had a good foundation for that. And we said, well, which did you like better? He goes, fullback was a lot more scary because you're actually running and hitting a wall, whereas tight end, you're lined up right over the top of it.
Taylor. And that's complete inside the 40-yard line. Be marked at the 38, and once again it's Charles Clay. And that's another first down. Gives us an opportunity to remind you, NFL on CBS is now on CBS All Access. Stream your local games live. Go to cbs.com/NFL now to try it free.
Well, you see Clay coming out of the game there. They've found a little window, some underneath windows there with the wide receivers pushing it up the field. Clay's been able to work both sides of the field and find those intermediate throws that Taylor's been able to connect on.
Taylor with time, throwing. That's a 7th straight completion, and out of bounds at the 25-yard line is Sammy Watkins. And Buffalo's offense has found a rhythm.
Well, Sammy Watkins is in the backside slot, the fake to the left. There's a player, there's Felton in the flat there. Watkins opens up as the second receiver. The pursuit of the underneath or the linebackers on that second level is what allows Watkins to get in there.
McCoy inside the 20 to the 19.
You know, talking to Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, and when you throw out a comparison like a Barry Sanders, when we were having a conversation about LaShawn McCoy, and he said, you know, he has Barry Sanders types moves and visions, and that's rarefied air when you throw someone in that comparison category.
You gotta go, really?
Yep. Wow. But you can see it. I mean, you can see, hey, he said, listen, sometimes the play's supposed to be off tackle right, it ends up running all the way outside to the left, so you have to be disciplined.
And it's McCoy to the 10, to the 5, touchdown! "19 yards.
This play takes off running to the right. It winds back left. We just talk about his vision, his cutback ability. Maybe celebrated a little bit too early as Thomas almost tackled him before he got in the end zone. But what great acceleration, and that would have been a little Barry Sanders-esque since we were just talking about it.
Well, Barry wouldn't have pointed the finger.
No, he wouldn't have. He definitely wouldn't have.
Carpenter's kick is good. 6:46 to play, third quarter. And the Bills answer with a touchdown of their own. It's 21-14 Miami. Buffalo crowd was in a real holiday mood during that timeout.
Well, they got a much-needed touchdown to get this thing back to a single possession game. And great drive by Tyrod Taylor and running by LaShawn McCoy.
And worth reiterating, this Buffalo team still has a shot at a wild card. A slim shot, but a shot nevertheless. This one will go into and through the end zone for the touchback. So we'll take a break with 6:46 to play in the third. Welcome back to Orchard Park, New York. New Era Field, the home of the Buffalo Bills. Miami with the lead and the ball at their own 25-yard line. A Ajayi in the backfield.
180!
Ajayi in the football. And spinning out for 5 to the 30. Well, cue the Bee Gees. The Bills trying to stay alive. A win today. They need a Baltimore loss to Pittsburgh, and they need Houston or Tennessee to lose. Tennessee is losing at Jacksonville.
You know, I had to laugh when Rex Ryan yesterday, we brought up the playoff scenario, and he says, well, don't you remember the 2006 Chiefs? They came back. I said, well, I was the quarterback of that team, and we went into that final weekend as the number 10 seed. We needed a bunch of different things to happen. We won, had a couple of overtime wins by teams we needed to win, and probably made it from the 10 seed to into the playoffs, that final wild card spot.
It was unbelievable. You had to have about 5 or 6 different things to happen, and they all fell into this place. There's Tennessee losing to Jacksonville with under 6.5 to play in the third.
Well, and that would just be a devastating loss for Tennessee, not only from a playoff standpoint, but considering the big victory they had a week ago in Kansas City on that last-second field goal of 53 yards. But Buffalo's hoping that's the way that game continues.
3rd and 3. Moore throwing outside, complete. That's Damian Williams, and Williams shaking tacklers and down the middle of the field. Inside the 25-yard line. Finally brought down by Corey Graham.
Well, we just keep repeating over and over again what is killing this Buffalo defense is missed tackles, number 1, and over pursuit, number 2. Right there, he tackles with his shoulder. Gilmore throws his shoulder in there, but he doesn't wrap up. So what? He just bounces off and keeps going, and then you see the pursuit of the defense allows the cutback. So over and over again, we'll take another look at the tackle or lack of tackle by Gilmore, just trying to throw a shoulder in. That's not going to get it done today.
44-yard pickup. Moore, the fake, over the middle, Devontae Parker, and Parker just inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal to go.
Just a quick slant over the middle to Parker. Getting that influence on the underneath coverage and finding an open lane.
Coming up on 4 minutes to play here in the third. Miami with a 1 touchdown lead, 1st and goal just inside the 10. Ajayi. Jay Ajayi has done his usual tough work on the ground. He has gone over 100 yards on the day. That's his 4th 100-yard game of this season. He's got 101. And of course, he's got 2 200-yard games.
Well, it's been over a month since he's had a 100-yard game, so defenses have been keying in on him, realizing that that's the way the Dolphins want to move the ball offensively. Today, though, having another big one.
2nd and goal.
Hey, do. Hey, come on.
Moore to the end zone. Touchdown. Kenny Stills with the reception. The 6-yard touchdown pass.
See the protection. The ball comes out of the hands quickly by Matt Moore. Bills are in man-to-man coverage.
Andrew Franks. The extra point is right down the middle. 3:14 to play in the third. Once again, it's a 2-touchdown lead for the Miami Dolphins. 3 minutes, 14 seconds to play here in the third quarter in Buffalo. Those of you who've been watching the Jets in New England, welcome to Orchard Park, New York. 28-17 or 28-14. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl, and Brandon Tate is deep. Going to catch this one on the run at about the 9-yard line. And back to the 20 and cut down at about the 21 or 22-yard line. Well, for most of this game, the Miami Dolphins have been in charge. They've jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Sammy Watkins' touchdown catch cut that in half. And then in the third quarter, Devontae Parker with a touchdown grab. Kenny Stills with a touchdown catch. LaShawn McCoy and Jay Ajayi have been strong on the ground as expected for the two teams. 101 yards on the ground for Ajayi and 93 for LaShawn McCoy. This is McCoy for about a yard or so. As we duck under 3 minutes to play, remember both these teams with an eye on the playoffs. The Buffalo Bills still, a lot of things can happen, but they are still alive for a wild card.
They are still mathematically alive. They need to win here today, which obviously down by 2 scores with a little over a quarter to go. They need to get something going.
Taylor on the move, going to launch it. Has Watkins deep, and he made the catch.
Tyrod Taylor has been under a lot of criticism this year because he hasn't thrown the ball up the field as much this year. He's throwing underneath the majority of the time. He hasn't had a healthy Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins now getting behind the defense for the 3rd time. The first time was for a touchdown in the first half. The second time was underthrown and not able to make the catch. This time he's able to come up with the catch once again. You can see 124 yards on the day. Much needed day for this Buffalo offense.
53-yard pickup. And this one is going to be kept by Taylor, who skips out of bounds inside the 20. How do you let a guy like Sammy Watkins run free behind the secondary?
Well, it's about pressuring the defense and getting behind the secondary. Earlier in the game on the touchdown grab, they forced the 2 tight ends up the field to draw the attention of the safety, leaving him one-on-one on the outside. You can see he missed 8 games this season due to the foot injury. And even though Rex Ryan told us just yesterday that he doesn't believe that Sammy Watkins is 100% healthy, but getting Sammy Watkins out on the field gives a lift to everybody on the team. And when he can run as well as he is today, it gets him on the scoreboard as well.
Taylor throwing over the middle and inside the 5 to the end zone. Touchdown, Charles Clay. How's that for an answer?
Charles Clay, now this is his 5th catch on the day. Tyrod Taylor putting it right in between 3 defenders there. As the collision happens, Clay spins off and is able to get into the end zone, making this back to a 1-possession game.
That is Issa Abdul-Quddus, the safety for the Miami Dolphins, on the ground at the 1-yard line.
Well, he is sitting up. I know we can see it a little bit up there. There's a good angle of him sitting up. He wasn't moving much at all, but you can see now moving everything around and having a conversation. Abdul-Quddus and Xavier Howard running into each other.
Still on the turf. We'll check on him when we come back. Now he gets up. 1:12 to play in the 3rd. We're back for the extra point attempt. Dan Carpenter, the ex-Dolphin. And the kick is good. So minute 12 to play here in the 3rd quarter, and Buffalo pulls back to within a touchdown at 28-21.
Well, it's important to note that Issa Abdul-Quddus got up and walked off the field on his own. He did go up into the tunnel, though.
Yeah, here's the AFC playoff picture as things stand now. New England has won, or winning, excuse me. And Oakland with the next best record in the AFC. Pittsburgh and Houston in line so far at the top of their division. Kansas City and Miami. Tennessee on the short end of the score at Jacksonville.
I think you were probably right in that first statement that New England won. I have a hard time believing they're going to blow a 35-point lead in the 4th quarter. But
not in their DNA, is it?
that's not generally going to happen. But you have to say they're leading. I understand.
You do have to like the way these Buffalo Bills have been able to come back several times today.
Yeah, this is the third time today. Miami's had a 2-touchdown lead on 3 occasions, and the Buffalo Bills have been able to answer on all 3 occasions, getting this back to a 1-possession game. Now, what they need to do defensively, they need to tackle better. 3 of the touchdowns today by the Dolphins have been due to the fact that they haven't wrapped up. Long touchdowns have happened because of it, and big plays because of the over-pursuit and aggressiveness of the defense.
This one will not be returned out of the end zone, and the touchback will start us at the 25-yard line. Sunday, January 22nd, 18 people will go on the run from a team of expert hunters. CBS presents the real-life thriller Hunted, premiering Sunday, January 22nd after the AFC Championship game only. CBS. LaShawn McCoy, 13 carries for 94 yards. Jay Ajayi, 20 carries for 101. There's still more than enough room in this game for a good running back and a good ground game.
Well, both the offensive lines have been performing well. We mentioned the missed tackles, but a lot of these carries have been getting a good 5 yards downfield before contact.
Ajayi looking for more. Out to the 30, a pickup of 5. Let's check in with Jamie.
Greg, as we saw at the tail end of that last Bills drive, safety Issa Abdul-Quddus for the Dolphins go down and straight up to the tunnel into the visitors' locker room. The team is telling me he's questionable to return with a neck injury.
Jamie, thank you. You know how the rain stopped just before the game began today? Nobody more grateful in this stadium than Jamie Erdahl.
I would agree with that. And she didn't want to hear anything about the cold.
No.
She didn't want to hear us complain at all about it.
Ajayi again, trying to bounce, this time only worth about a half a yard. Marcel Darius, number 99.
Well, I doubt the Dolphins are going to take another snap here before the quarter. Let the clock wind down,
and when we come back, it's going to be 3rd and 4, and this crowd is already standing for their defense. After 3, Miami 28-21. We're back after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Along with our producer, Jim Rickoff, our director, Suzanne Smith, Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl. Merry Christmas. We start the 4th quarter here in Buffalo. 28-21 Miami, and a big 3rd and 4. Moore throwing over the middle, and that is caught across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Devontae Parker and a Miami first down.
Jay Ajayi comes out of the backfield and splits way out right. They match linebacker up on him. That's a confirmation for Matt Moore to know that it's man-to-man coverage. Man-to-man coverage, like on the touchdown throw earlier to Kenny Stills. He knows what side of the field he wants to go to. You have a flat with a slant. The first time he threw the flat, which got him the touchdown. This time to pick up the 3rd down, he gets the slant to get him into first down range.
You see there Matt Moore with 6 straight completions as Ajayi now carries across midfield and into Buffalo territory. Moore with 6 straight completions, and Tyrod Taylor has completed 9 passes in a row. Coming up, the Subway postgame show with JB and the guys for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. All coming up on the Subway postgame show. Now they throw a flag on that.
Well, the Dolphins ran up to a line in a hurry.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 57. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
They tried getting out of the huddle early and running up to the line just to make it think that they were going to snap the ball quick. Instead, they go the hard count. Lorenzo Alexander up there to the top.
I don't think that's fair, Trent.
Well, as soon as he moves, then Albert's smart enough to make that flinch happen, and it causes. That's the rule they put in place.
I know, they give the offensive line free reign to move however they want. Ajayi spun down. Leger Douzable, who's had himself a terrific game here this afternoon.
Douzable coming off on the top up top, able to get in the backfield. This time wrapping Ajayi up, not allowing the missed tackle to happen.
I mean, come on. You're allowed to stand up on the line and point.
You can stand and point. You can't get in a 3-point and stand back up, but if you're in a 2-point and that defensive guy gets across the line, make the movement happen and draw the penalty on them.
On 2nd and 5, Moore looks right, holding on, now throws, and that's Landry. Landry inside the 35 to about the 33-yard line, and that's another Miami first down.
Landry's going to be on the outside, and the initial fake goes to Landry because Matt Moore's trying to get it up the field, but the Bills don't allow that to happen. Now watch the move he puts on Brown. Brown has a good angle to happen, and Landry sets him up by acting like he's going to the boundary, plants that right leg, is able to cut across and make Zach Brown fall to the ground.
Marcel Darius never gave up on the play, made the tackle from behind. From the 33. 180! Ajayi gonna lose yardage. Doozable again.
Multiple times today, Doozable getting into the backfield. This time he's on the left side. We just saw in the previous 2 plays ago, he was on the right side getting through the block and getting into the backfield. So moving Doozable around so he gets the matchups, and right now he's making it happen.
2nd and 15. And Moore coming in from the sideline, and the play clock down to 5. Can they get this off in time? No, they can't. Timeout. A 30-second timeout for us, too. We'll be back. Well, we think Matt Moore is having some real problems hearing the play being called in.
Well, the thing is, the play has to come in before 15 seconds on the play clock. At 15 seconds, they turn off the speaker in your helmet so that they can't relate. We've seen several times today, though, Matt Moore running to the sideline to get the communication necessary.
Ajayi in the backfield. Play fake to him. Moore with time, and now here's Ajayi on the receiving end, and he's brought down short of the 35-yard line. Let's check in with JB at the NFL Today in New York. James.
Hey, Greg, it's been a tough day for Marcus Mariota of Tennessee. Not a good day so far, and made worse here as Sheldon Day of the Jags falls on his right lower leg. It's being described as an ankle injury. We know not how serious, but he is put in the air boot and wheeled off the field. Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, thank you. And you see the dogfight going on at the top of the AFC South. 3rd and 12 for Miami. And they'll go on the ground. Ajayi running room left side and brought down inside the 30-yard line.
Well, and I think Miami, it looks like they're going to kick the field goal. And when you decide to run the ball on 3rd and 12 like that, it sends a message that, listen, if we're able to get a big gain and get the first down, great. If not, we're content with attempting the field goal, make this a 10-point game.
So here is Andrew Franks from 46 yards out. Off the upright and no good. .15 to play here in the 4th quarter. You see the flags blowing, and Trent, you figure that played a pretty strong part in that missed field goal.
It has in both misses. Dan Carpenter in the first half pushed his right when they were going the other direction, and the Dolphins this time missing their field goal left, going in the opposite direction. So that wind is having an impact on the field goal.
Taylor going to keep it, and Felton blocking in front of him, and he's out of bounds close to midfield. That's a first down.
This is just a read option, and Tyrod Taylor decides to pull it. He has Felton on the outside blocking for him as he's able to get a big enough gain for a first down.
13 yards to be exact. Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator for the Dolphins, saying, stop that guy.
Well, and that's one of his better rushing days in a long time this season. 53 yards for Tyrod Taylor. Comes in leading the National Football League in quarterback rushing yards, but it's kind of been taken away here the last few games.
Taylor running out of time, now throws and complete to the 35-yard line. Marquise Goodwin. That's a 16-yard pickup and another Buffalo first down.
Well, Goodwin is sprinting down the sideline, and because of that speed, Lippett has to give him space. He has to give him a big enough cushion, and Goodwin decides to plant his foot and come back. You can see Taylor taking a big shot as he waited as long as he could for Goodwin to come out of that route.
Yeah, speaking of planting, Andre Branch planted him after he let go. Taylor escaped and throws it away. It'll be 2nd and 10. A reminder for you, Week 16 continues later today on Fox and then tonight on NFL Network. Tune in tomorrow for a Christmas Day doubleheader on NFL Network and NBC. It's been a while since we've said so, but Merry Christmas to everyone out there, to you and yours, from all of us here at CBS Sports.
Here's the numbers of Tyrod Taylor. Started off a little slow from a completion percentage standpoint, but warming up here in the second half. 231 yards passing, 2 touchdowns.
Taylor again. Taylor with running room and slides down inside the 25-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 25. And enough for the first down. It is obviously a part of his game that he loves.
Well, and it's the middle of the field that he's able to take advantage of. Most quarterbacks, and Tyrod's done it several times today, also is getting to the sidelines. But if you have a lane, he has the speed to be able to take it up inside, and that time smart enough to get down before taking a big hit.
187 yards on the ground today for the Buffalo Bills. The #1 rushing offense in the league. Taylor yanked down from behind by Jason Jones.
Well, we knew this was going to be a matchup for both teams. If you look at the run defense for both teams, the Bills are 27th against the rush. The Dolphins are 30th against the rush. So you knew both teams were going to try and run the football, and they have had success on both sides.
It's been a ground game.
Ready up!
Straight drop for Taylor on 2nd and 10 with time. Going to the end zone as a man open. Caught at the back of the end zone by Charles Clay.
And
he's ruled out.
He's being ruled out. That was a high arcing, beautiful throw up high, trying to lead Clay into the corner. He gets behind the defense. Gets one down, does not get the second foot down. You can see that one foot was off the ground when the ball came in. The second one doesn't drag. Good call by the officials. There won't be a challenge coming from Buffalo and Rex Ryan.
3rd and 10. Taylor throws the other side of the field, and that catch is made, and Watkins is a yard shy of a first down.
Well, I'm not going to be surprised if they don't go for this.
Oh, I think we just saw Rex read his lips. He said, we'll go for it.
Sammy Watkins, you could see, was a yard short of the sticks. He's having an impressive day. 5 catches, 133 yards, and a touchdown, but 1 yard short on that play.
Gillislee and Felton in the backfield. And we get a whistle.
"12 men in formation on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. The result is a first down."
Well, that's a real good way to play defense if you can get away with it.
Yeah, and both officials in the secondary saw it, so 2 flags were thrown. See if we can count them real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Both back officials recognizing that and getting the call done.
First down, Buffalo at the Miami 11. McCoy to the 5 and out of bounds at the 4. Buffalo's third trip into the red zone today. The first 2 they scored touchdowns.
We're running right into our lap here as McCoy with Felton as the lead blocker. We've seen that so many times today, that McCoy having the patience to allow the block to get set up and Felton being able to clean things up and get him good 5-6 yards downfield before anybody can even get to him.
Taylor, no chance to get rid of it. Neville Hewitt with the stop.
Well, Hewitt playing for the injured Jenkins, who's not in the game, just comes through untouched and is able to wrap up Taylor. You may be sitting there watching it saying, why doesn't Felton block him? He sees him flash right away because Felton's responsibility is that next level. The option was supposed to take place off of Hewitt, and Taylor not able to get rid of the ball quick enough.
So here's a 3rd and 9. Taylor dancing, trying to get out of trouble, throws it towards the end zone. Incomplete. Fans want a flag intended for Clay. And Spencer Pasinger comes up limping.
Well, when this ball was thrown, I thought it was going to be intercepted. He just threw it too soft. Almost tried to make a back shoulder throw to Clay. The crowd very upset. Clearly Pasinger made contact. He didn't turn around to locate the ball. Watch the contact that happens here before the ball gets there. Wow. That's an easy pass interference call that's not made.
Saw Tyrod Taylor pleading his case. The fact that his arm was yanked away from the possible catch.
Yeah, Pasinger's left arm gets in there and rips it away.
So they continue.
That's a huge miss.
They continue to look at Spencer Pasinger in the end zone, and we'll take a quick timeout. 5:55 to play. 42, Spencer Pasinger now getting off of the mat sideline. Meanwhile, here is Dan Carpenter. Missed one from 46 yards out. This is from 28. And it is good. And with 5:51 to play in regulation, Miami's lead is 28-24. A reminder for you, tomorrow, a holiday gift from 60 Minutes. A front row seat to the Broadway hit Hamilton. Tomorrow, only CBS. So now the emphasis switches for Buffalo to defense.
Well, and that's where they've had the problems with the missed tackles and with the over pursuit. So you're sitting there with 3 timeouts. As you can see, Buffalo sitting there with all 3 timeouts. If they can get a stop and save some clock, 5:51 to go, you know that's what Miami's going to do. Their emphasis is going to be on trying to run the football, trying to keep the clock running.
It has been the duel that we expected between Jay Ajayi and LaShawn McCoy. And Miami has done well in close games this season, 7-2 in games decided by 8 points or less. So Jakeem Grant, Kenyon Drake are deep. And this one's returnable. On the run at the 5-yard line is Grant. Right up the middle. To the outside. What a return by Grant before he's bumped out of bounds at about the 43-yard line. And a little pushing and shoving on the far side of the field. Dan Carpenter, the kicker, involved. And they're finally getting sorted out.
Throughout that whole thing, I never saw a penalty flag thrown, so.
We'll take this opportunity to remind you the NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fruit of the Loom. Keep your cool in breathable underwear. By Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. By Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days. And by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost. Here's the hit that started everything.
What's the punter? Dan Carpenter, also the kickoff specialist with the big hit over on that sideline. They got everybody pushing and shoving a little bit.
Former Miami Dolphin. But a terrific return of 38 yards by Jakeem Grant. And Miami gets the field position that Buffalo had hoped they wouldn't get. From the 46, Landry trying to turn the corner, escaping a couple of tackling efforts for no gain. Let's get an update from JB and Bart at the NFL Today in New York.
Matt Castle in for the injured Marcus Mariota.
In for Marcus Mariota, he's 6 for 8 for 51 yards. He finds Delaney Walker for the 14-yard score to trim the lead. Jacksonville up 25.
5:32 left in regulation. Bart, back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, that AFC South battle continues to be waged. No gain on that last play. 2nd and 10. 5 minutes to play in the fourth. Quick pass to the near side. Landry couldn't keep it under control and lost it. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, and you're trying to be as conservative as you possibly can. On first down, you go with the around, you keep the ball in bounds, keep the clock moving. This time, just a quick throw out to Landry, trying to set the wide receiver screen up. Landry just averts his eyes and gets upfield too quickly and doesn't secure the catch. So it stops the clock and also sets up a 3rd and long.
Bills with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. A big 3rd down here. Moore on the move, throwing. That's complete, near midfield, but nowhere near first down yardage. Jarvis Landry making the catch, but the Bills were all over him.
Well, it has more to do with the initial pressure. It's going to come from Jerry Hughes. Works his way up the middle, flushing Matt Moore to the outside. So instead of waiting to see what was going to happen up the field, there's a layered route that the Dolphins have working the right side. They have a deep player running the sideline. They have a flag route that's about 15 to 20 yards deep, and then the underneath route. But because of that flush, Moore getting out of the pocket, he had no choice but to throw it underneath.
Brandon Tate awaits at the 10-yard line. Good call for a fair catch and let it bounce, hoping that it would get to the end zone. It will not, and then takes a Buffalo roll outside the 10-yard line. And it's down at the 11. 4 minutes to play. 28-24 Miami. Sunday, the final week of the regular season. The NFL on CBS will have doubleheader featuring these games. Tons of playoff implications, all subject to flexible scheduling, and we'll start at noon Eastern with JB and company on the NFL Today. Well, all kinds of scenarios in play for the Buffalo Bills, but none of them work for the Bills and Rex Ryan if they don't win here right now. 28-24 Miami, 4 minutes to play. The Bills from their own 11 and all 3 timeouts remaining. McCoy turning the corner to about the 28.
Well, and because of all those reasons you just stated, Greg, they're down by 4 points. They have 3 timeouts left. Everything is 4-down territory. You have to go for everything. You have to go down and get a touchdown.
I beg your pardon. I said the 28. I meant the 18. 2nd and 3.
Like 42.
And this is McCoy again. And about a yard short of a first down. 3:20 to play.
And right now, Vance Joseph still continuing to mix it up. You would think in this situation you would play softer defense, allow some of this underneath stuff to happen and keep the clock running. Instead, the Dolphins put 8 defenders in the box to go man-to-man on the outside. I'm sitting up here thinking they're going to give up a big play if they go to this man-to-man, but continuing to try and mix it up and force the Bills into making a play.
180. Ready up.
On 3rd and 1, the pitch for Gillislee. Gillislee has the first down, across the 30, 35, 40, and the 45-yard line. On 3rd and 1, Gillislee turns it into a big gainer.
Well, and that's the risk you take. When you go man-to-man and you put everybody in there, you get the pursuit. And see Hewitt coming in there, not able to get the angle.
Clock continues to move to 25 to play. They needed 1, they got 25.
142.
Taylor on the move, being chased and out of bounds close to the 50-yard line.
Well, and that saves the timeout, having that ability to get outside the pocket. He hung in there as long as he could, trying to push the ball up the field.
Tyrod Taylor with 8 carries for 60 yards rushing today.
It looked like Terrence Fede was going to get him and bring him down, but Taylor took off and was able to outrun the defense to the sideline.
And for the 5th time this season, the Buffalo Bills are over 200 yards rushing in a game. McCoy into Miami territory to the 41. And that brings us to the 2-minute warning. Playoff hopes on the line in Buffalo. Hey, remember, coming up, the Subway postgame show. JB and the guys with scores and highlights all coming up on the Subway postgame show. We'll fill a half an hour talking about this one. 2 minutes to play.
180. Ready up.
McCoy, flea flicker. Taylor, waiting, throwing, wide open inside the 20, the 15, the 10, and out of bounds is Robert Woods.
Woods is going to be working from right to left on your screen, left to right for Tyrod Taylor. Sammy Watkins is over the top on a deep post. So the defense is drawn to Watkins trying to get over the top. Woods is just patient, is able to undercut, take his time with the patience, getting to the far side of the field, and plenty of time with the flea flicker.
As a quarterback, you die for time like that, don't you? 1st and goal. McCoy wrestled down by Bakari Rambo, who is in for Issa Abdul Kudus, who was injured earlier.
Well, Miami takes a timeout here. Try and preserve some time.
1:40 remaining here in the 4th quarter.
Well, it's important to remember this time, this is a 4-point game. Miami earlier in this second half missed a field goal, hit the upright, and before halftime, Matt Moore threw an interception in the end zone. So not only the missed field goal, but the missed opportunity at the end of the first half. So potentially 2 field goals that could have either made this a touchdown game, a 7-point game, or could have even made it a 10-point game. So that's coming into play heavily here as 4 points separate these two.
Let's clarify again. Buffalo can only keep its playoff hopes alive with a win. 2nd and goal. McCoy inside the 5 to the 4. And once again, timeout is called by the Dolphins. So Miami is out of timeouts. Bills have all 3 of theirs. Minute 32 on the clock. Those of you who watch New England knock off the New York Jets 41-3, welcome to Buffalo. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl. Minute and a half remaining here in the fourth quarter. Miami with a 4-point lead. Buffalo 3rd and goal. Taylor going to keep it. Looking to go to the outside. Shakes off a tackler and is bumped out of bounds short of the 5.
Well, that's the worst thing he could have done, was to get knocked out of bounds. Miami Dolphins with no timeouts left. Buffalo could have wound the clock all the way down, called their own timeout. Obviously, they still need to score a touchdown, so you want to score a touchdown there. But it's not the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that he ends up running out of bounds, because now even if you do score on 4th down, you've saved a bunch of time for the Miami Dolphins to go down and trying to get in the field goal range.
And Rex Ryan is going to use the first of his 3 timeouts remaining. So obviously the toughest weapon, the biggest weapon that they have had today has been their running game. The question is, do you use it here on 4th and goal? AFC playoff picture looks like this. Miami with a win today and a Denver loss tomorrow, and they're in the postseason. Buffalo on the outside looking in needs several things to happen, but the first thing they need is a win here in the next minute and change.
Well, the most important thing for the Buffalo Bills is to go in and get a touchdown here on 4th down. And you had asked before we went to that graphic if they should run the football, because that's what they've done well. I think 7 yards away from the goal line, you have to lean more on the passing game. The thing I think is that was a mistake using that timeout, because if you get stopped here on 4th down, you could have had all 3 timeouts to force the Dolphins to have to punt it back to you if they decided to run the ball.
4th and goal. Taylor throwing, end zone. It is caught by Clay.
They've been working this in the second half. Clay is going to come up and he's just going to work to the inside. That's where Taylor's gonna it's man-to-man coverage with the linebackers dropping underneath. He's able to find that lane. Rex Ryan getting all fired up, as the extra point would make this a 3-point game.
3rd touchdown pass of the day for Tyrod Taylor. And they are taking a closer look at Clay's catch in the end zone. Low ball.
Oh, he clearly secures that against his body.
Charles Clay, the ex-Miami Dolphin.
Michael Thomas to the outside as Clay pushed out into him and then was able to hook up on the inside. Spencer Paysinger on the inside. Tyrod Taylor just putting that low and right in between the two of them.
I don't know what the delay can possibly be, because there didn't seem to be much question about it.
Yeah, and all plays are reviewed. All scoring plays are reviewed,
right.
And everything under 2 minutes is controlled by up in the booth. And everything we've seen, there is a no decision there.
Craig Rolstad just announced that the ruling on the field is confirmed.
Craig just wanted to hear everybody cheer for him. He wanted to make that announcement so the whole stadium would go nuts on him. That was good timing for him.
Important extra point attempt to make it a 3-point lead by Dan Carpenter. And it is perfect. A minute 20 to play. And we go back to that decision. Well, they've had some missed opportunities indeed, but that one off the upright. And you mentioned, Trent, the decision by Matt Moore to throw it into the end zone at the end of the first half, which cost them a chance at 3 more points on the board.
And that's the correct way to say it. It would have been a chance. It would have ended up being around a 45-yard field goal if they had just thrown an incompletion there. He tried forcing it into the back of the end zone. It ended up being an interception. But the good thing for Matt Moore is all of that can go away. All of that can be disappeared if you go down and you score, get this into overtime, or even ultimately go down and score and get the touchdown and win it. It's important to remember the Miami Dolphins have not had much success playing up here in Buffalo. They've lost 4 straight up here in Buffalo. The last time they won in Buffalo was 2011. The starting quarterback, Matt Moore. So he has an opportunity to come down and continue this season for the Dolphins.
Moore, 14 of 24 today for 209, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Grant and Drake are deep. Into the end zone at the goal line is Kenyon Drake. To the 20, to the 30, and close to the 40-yard line. Nice return by Kenyon Drake, the rookie out of Alabama. So Matt Moore has to navigate the field with no timeouts, which I'm assuming, Trent, you're looking for a sideline thing.
You would think the sideline, but with a minute 10 or a minute 11 remaining, you can still work the middle of the field, run up and spike the ball. You have plenty of time, so don't get caught up in trying to work the boundary at this point in time. If you want to get down into field goal range, you only need about 25 yards, so still use the middle of the field with this much time left.
Moore over the middle. Incomplete. Devontae Parker trying to make the sliding catch. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, and this is one Matt Moore should have. This is just a dig route to the outside. You're trying to keep him safe away from Brown, the linebacker. Moore not stepping into it enough, and that ball just dies at the end of the route. We mentioned the wind being a factor in the kicking game. It's also messed with some of the throws today as well.
Moore, and there's Kenny Stills across midfield into the 44 of the Buffalo Bills.
Well, and they're trying to hurry up and get this thing spiked.
And they do. That stops the clock with 51 seconds to play. Let's go back and look at that throw.
Well, the Buffalo Bills were playing a cover 2 defense, meaning 2 deep safeties. They didn't want to give up a home run throw, so Kenny Stills just working the middle of the field. That's where the gaps in the lanes are, in between the nickel defenders and the linebackers, is trying to find those lanes because the safeties are so deep, not trying to give up the home run. Once again, 51 seconds left, no timeouts, but you can still use the middle of the field to gain the yardage you need to set up a field goal.
Play clock is at 5. Moore throwing, incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Good pressure by the Bills. First it was Hughes coming off the edge that forced Matt Moore to step up into the pocket, and then the pressure of the middle of the defense. Kyle Williams, one of them, pushing the pocket back, not allowing Moore to step into that throw. That's actually not a bad play by Moore to get rid of the ball, stop the clock with the incompletion.
Moore to the sideline. It is caught. And Damian Williams fighting for yardage when he could have stepped out of bounds. He's looking for the first down.
Huge mistake, Greg, not getting out of bounds, because now on 4th down, now they're yelling for the field goal unit to come out. They've got plenty of time. They need to slow down and take a breath. They're going to kick the field goal. Slow down and take a breath.
This is a 55-yard attempt. On its way. And good. A career-long ties the game. Rex Ryan appears to be arguing the fact that he called a timeout.
What an incredible kick under pressure. He kicked it with the low trajectory. Now watch Rex. He's going to try getting a timeout.
He tried to get the time. He said he called for a timeout, and it wasn't given to him.
Well, and I think he maybe waited too long. It almost looked like the official waved him off. Adam Gase pretty pumped up with that kick. Ryan Tannehill as well. Rex Ryan shaking his head thinking he had the timeout. I almost believe it was waited a little bit too long. I know we didn't have a split screen there to see where exactly the snap happened. I think he maybe waited too long. It looked like the official kind of shook his head and waved him off, thought it was too late.
6 seconds to play. And Andrew Franks, in only his second NFL season, kicks his career-long 55-yard field goal.
Well, just think about it. That was probably the best case scenario for him mentally, is all of a sudden you have to hurry on the field, you have to get lined up and kick it. Instead of thinking about the one you missed, he hit the upright earlier in this game, earlier in the fourth quarter.
So you're a believer in icing a kicker sometimes?
Well, when you got a second-year guy that already missed one earlier in the game, and this was his career long, I definitely believe in that. If you're dealing with a veteran guy, I don't think it's as big a deal.
This is what it looked like when the kick happened. Rex is calling a timeout, and that is in sync with the play, and from that view, he waited too long.
That view, he definitely waited too long. If that's as it was timed out, when he called the timeout, it was definitely after the ball had already been snapped.
So that kick goes through the end zone, and with 6 seconds to play, Buffalo will have a shot from the 25-yard line. What a game.
It's been incredible. You know, we're thinking of how huge of a mistake it appeared to be to not run out of bounds there to save and preserve whatever time you had, because if you're going to go for it on fourth down, you needed to save that time so you could get the first down and spike the ball. If you decide to run everybody out, you gave yourself plenty of time, but I'm surprised with the way LeSean McCoy runs that you're not trying a screen play or a draw play here and just let him get in the open field and try and juke somebody, but they take the knee and send this thing to overtime.
This is what happens in overtime. We'll play 15 minutes if necessary. A touchdown or a safety on the very first possession wins the game. And if the score is tied after each team has touched the football, then the next score wins. Everybody gets 2 timeouts, and there are no coaches' challenges. This is how it happened. The 2 cameras synced up. The snap happens. And I would have to stick up for the officials on that one.
I would too. That's synced up to the second with the frame by frame. So we know that's the timing of it.
Let's go to midfield.
Captains, we will play a maximum of 1 50-minute overtime period. Both teams will have the opportunity to possess the ball unless the first team to possess the ball gets a touchdown or unless the defense scores. Fourth quarter timing rules apply. Both teams are allowed 2 timeouts, and all replay reviews will be above from the booth. Miami, the NFL shield is heads. The Buffalo's tails. What is your call? Heads. Called heads? It is tails. Buffalo's won the toss. They will receive. Kick that way. Buffalo will receive to start the overtime. Good luck, captains.
Buffalo with their hands on the football when we get underway in overtime, trying to turn this around. Game-tying field goal by the Dolphins. How'd we get here? Glad you asked. Tyrod Taylor with the touchdown pass to Clay. Back came the Dolphins. Kenny Stills with the catch, and then Andrew Franks from 55 yards out. 6 seconds to play. We're tied at 31 as we go to overtime. Brandon Tate, the deepest for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, just a reminder for everybody, if Buffalo gets a touchdown, this game is over. If they get and have to settle for a field goal, Miami will get a chance.
This one rolling into the end zone for the touchback. So Buffalo will start from its own 25-yard line. Tyrod Taylor, 22 of 33 for 281 yards and 3 touchdowns today, and a big boost, as usual, from LaShawn McCoy, who has rushed for 124 yards and a touchdown.
Well, and we've seen the reemergence of Sammy Watkins, who's had a down year. He was on injured reserve for a number of weeks with a foot injury, inactive for a couple other games because of that foot injury. Really hasn't gotten to much sync, but today, 5 receptions for 133 yards and a touchdown, so he's been their big play guy.
McCoy dragged down for a loss by Andre Branch. That'll be a loss of 2, and it'll be 2nd and 12. Can't say it enough. Buffalo needs a win to stay alive in this playoff hunt.
Well, and it's just as important. You and I thought this was going to be a good game when the day started, and in fact, this is really the first playoff game of the season when you consider what's on the line for both these teams.
2nd and 12, Taylor. That's caught. And across the 30, out to the 34 is Charles Clay, who has had a big game today. That is Clay's 7th catch.
Donald Butler undercuts it, tries to knock it away. Not able to get his hand on the ball. Incredible catch by Clay with his fingertips, keeping it off the ground and then keeping his balance to get this to a 3rd and short.
Clay with 7 catches for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns, and it's 3rd and 1. Gillislee, the deep back behind Taylor. The give is to the short man, Felton. And Felton gets the first down as he crosses the 35. .35 remaining in overtime, and welcome to those of you who saw Jacksonville knock off the Tennessee Titans. That is a big loss for the Titans.
Big loss for the Titans and a huge loss when you think about the Buffalo Bills and their chances to make the playoffs. They needed Tennessee to lose, and they need a win here to keep their hopes alive.
Gillislee to the outside. Gillislee with running room, midfield, 40, and out of bounds at about the 30-yard line.
Michael Thomas is the deep safety, number 31. He comes into play. He saves this touchdown. Not only is he able to knock him out of bounds, but he keeps the game alive, because as he goes, if Gillislee had gone in and scored, this game was over.
Buffalo at the 30.
47!
Taylor keeps it and loses yardage on the play. That's Andre Branch in the Buffalo backfield.
That's the 2nd time now here in the last couple series they've tried that play, and Branch has been staying home, not allowing the play to develop.
Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. Sammy Watkins has been huge today in the receiving game for Buffalo. Taylor stepping up, sideline. Watkins picked it off the turf to the 17 and a first down.
What they tried doing is an out and up. Watch as he goes up. He gives a quick out, and then he goes up the sideline. So Xavier Howard turns his back, thinking it's a pump route up the sideline, but it ends up being a double move. Watkins is able to get his hands underneath and come up with that catch.
I'm sure they're taking a closer look at this one on review, but What a pair of hands for Sammy Watkins.
Doesn't look like the end of the ball hits the ground. It looks like he gets both hands underneath it and is able to secure it to his body before the ball hits the ground. I like the call by offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn. You get a double move on the outside. Howard's already been beat deep twice today by Sammy Watkins, so you do an out and up. Howard has to turn his hips and start running. You get that double move, you all of a sudden stop, and excellent catch by Watkins to scoop that off.
How about Watkins? 6 catches today for 146 yards.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a catch. It'll be first down and 10, Buffalo.
From the 17.
Well, Buffalo's been in the red zone 4 times today. They've gotten 3 touchdowns and 1 field goal, so they've been productive.
McCoy shakes a tackler and goes down inside the 20. Looks like he'll lose a yard on the play.
Earl Mitchell getting great penetration in the backfield, getting the initial hand on McCoy, slowing him down. Not able to bring him down, but able to slow him down and allow the other defenders to rally and make the tackle.
A couple of times in this game, the Miami Dolphins had leads of 2 touchdowns. And Buffalo has come back every time. 2nd and 12. Coming around from the far side is Reggie Bush. And the veteran can't get away from the pursuit. Neville Hewitt brings him down.
Well, once again, Andre Branch is the one that makes it happen. Number 50 coming off the right side there. He gets back. He doesn't allow it. Nearly gets a face mask call on Reggie Bush, but that allows Hewitt to get into position and make the tackle. Andre Branch has come up huge several times here, getting into the backfield and helping eliminate a big play.
So now, is this about getting the first down, or is this about positioning yourself for the field goal?
I would think more about positioning yourself for the field goal. I wouldn't be surprised if they just run a draw here.
Straight drop to Taylor. Taylor down the sideline. Incomplete. Marquise Goodwin, the intended receiver, and on to the field will come Dan Carpenter. This will be 45 yards.
Well, it was about this distance earlier in the game and about the same spot on the field where Carpenter was kicking it and the wind pushed it right. Not getting a field goal for the Bills.
For the lead here in overtime. On its way and pushed it right.
You don't see a lot of wind. You see the flags on the uprights moving a little bit, but it's the flags at the top of the stadium that are blowing very hard, and you can just see it's just enough to push it right. He's trying to lean it over.
Carpenter would have liked nothing better against his former team. So now the Bills go on defense, and Miami looking for a win. Ajayi, left side. Gets it to the 45. We check in with JB in New York.
An early Christmas present for Cleveland.
With time expiring, Josh Lambo attempts the 45-yard field goal. No good. Santa's real, JB.
That he is. Merry Christmas to the Cleveland Browns. Back to Greg Gumbel.
JB, thank you. You know, Trent, and I know there are an awful lot of people who are happy for Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, that would have been tough going into that final game. We take a look at the flag blowing, and Dan Carpenter with the second miss of the day, kicking in this direction with the wind blowing it that way. Now the next score for either team wins this football game.
No.
But getting back to Hugh Jackson and the Cleveland Browns, that's a big win for them, knowing that they finally get one in the win column.
There's a big loss for the Buffalo Bills if he stays on the sideline. Stephon Gilmore being helped off the field, the cornerback.
That would be a big loss. He's tied for second in the National Football League with 5 interceptions. We'll see if this has an impact as this game wraps up.
He's replaced by Seymour. Kenyon Drake in the backfield, second and short yardage. Drake, first down to midfield. Clock continues to move, 9.5 to play in this overtime period.
Well, with Drake in the backfield, it's easy to overlook the fact because of the day Jay Ajayi is having 128 yards rushing by Ajayi, but Drake is the one that earlier in this game was stuffed at one point, bounced it all the way around the other side, ended up with a 45-yard touchdown run, so he's explosive as well.
Drake still in there. Drake on first down for 2. Preston Brown making the stop. It'll be 2nd and 8. These teams have played like their backs are against the wall.
This has been back and forth, been an exciting game. You mentioned the fact, as we take a look at Rex Ryan, the fact the Bills have been down by 2 touchdowns on multiple occasions today, coming back and tying it, ultimately going down and getting the touchdown, getting a 3-point lead before Miami was able to tie it up at the end of regulation.
Ajayi for a couple. How about this? Miami with about 417 total yards today. Buffalo 552 yards of offense.
It's been a crazy game. Anytime you got 31-31, there's going to be some yards on the board. We've seen everything. We've had big plays. We've had big pass plays. We've had big run plays. We've seen quarterbacks getting hot at the right time. We've seen great kicks by both kickers. We've seen misses by both kickers.
And we get a timeout on the field. Timeout is called. Buffalo uses the first of its 2 timeouts here in overtime. We go back to the last few seconds of regulation. And this was Andrew Franks. You and I talked about this, Trent. That was a low trajectory kick, and it would allow him to make it from 55.
Well, and I think you had to have it that low with the wind. The way the stadium works, the way it's kind of scooped and the wind gets in here and swirls around, the flags on the goalposts aren't moving a whole lot. The flags above the stadium are blowing like crazy, so there's a swirling wind that happens. And what he wanted to do, number one, a distance standpoint, 55 yards, but also you don't want to give the wind time to make that ball adjust, and he was able to nail it and send this into overtime.
Dolphins would like to give him another shot here. 3rd and 5. Moore gonna loft it up. Incomplete inside the 15-yard line. Intended for Deion Sims, the tight end. And let's see what Coach Gase does. He's gonna punt it.
I think really you have no choice at this point in time. You try and punt it down in there, pin him there, and play the field position game. Hope that you can stop him and you end up getting the ball back around midfield or around your 40-yard line. That's too risky with the ball where it's located to go for it on 4th down, because if you miss it, then Buffalo only needs one first down and a couple more yards to attempt a field goal.
Brandon Tate deep. And he's going to let this one float over his head. Bounce inside the 5, and they're going to down it. Bobby McCain jumping into the end zone, batting the ball back. And Buffalo will start from inside its own 5-yard line.
Well, if you're the Dolphins, couldn't ask for anything better. McCain keeping his foot in the field of play when he jumps into the end zone and bats the ball backwards to down the ball.
31-31, 7:44 to play in overtime. New England, a winner today. They're 13-2. And Oakland already secure in the postseason. Pittsburgh and Houston leading their respective divisions. Kansas City and Miami holding down the first wild card spot.
47! Ready up!
McCoy busts it out to the 10. We've talked about all the permutations that are necessary for Buffalo to make the postseason much more simple for Miami. No matter what happens, Miami can win out and make it to the postseason. Or, to make it even easier, they can win here tonight and then hope that Denver loses to Kansas City tomorrow. 2nd and 4. McCoy very close to a first down, and he appears to have it. So Buffalo first down. Meanwhile, Rex Ryan, again, all the talk, and we kept asking him in our meeting with him, how do you ignore it? He said, I just do.
You just put your head down, keep working. He's given it everything he got and said, until they show me the door, I'm going to give it everything I have. And I think it would be crazy to change right now. He's 500 over the last season plus, and these players are playing hard for him. They've dealt with a bunch of injuries on both sides of the ball as McCoy gets tackled for a loss there. But when you consider what Rex Ryan has been through here this season with the number of injuries and the fact he's still got them in position, they win this football game. And as you mentioned, Tennessee lost already. So only a couple more dominoes need to fall for them to be in position next week and stay alive. So I think it'd be a mistake. Too many times coaching changes happen too quickly. I think you give him a third year and see what happens next season.
On 2nd and 13, Taylor dancing away from trouble, on the move, going to keep it, and across the 15 out to the 17-yard line. Taylor stands out as unusual, Trent, because he's got that stiff-legged stance in the pocket.
He does. He just all of a sudden stand back. I mean, he's not the tallest guy in the world, so you'd think a guy that's going to stand back there and just anchor his feet would be a big 6'4", 6'6" guy. Tyrod Taylor feeling very comfortable in the pocket, takes off and run, has the good acceleration. Andre Branch being the one that made him change direction, and Cameron Wake tackling him from behind.
So now Buffalo needs a 3rd and 8 conversion to keep the drive alive. Taylor. That's complete. Across the 30 and out of bounds. Clay. What a day Charles Clay has had against his former teammates from Miami.
Well, if you're just joining us, you may be wondering why on 3rd and 8 they're going to man-to-man. Vance Joseph has been mixing coverage up and mixing pressure up on all of his 3rd downs today, and this time it just doesn't work. They're able to get one-on-one with Clay on the drag route. Nice throw from Tyrod Taylor in the first down for the Bills.
Clay, 8 catches for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is a direct snap to Gillislee, and Gillislee doesn't get much on it, if anything at all. Matt Moore looking on from the sideline. And that is Jordan Phillips, starting defensive tackle, coming off the field holding his right arm. It has been an incredible offensive assault by both these teams. They're approaching a combined 1,000 yards of total offense.
Just saw a look at Adam Gase and Clyde Christensen talking to Matt Moore over on the bench.
This is Watkins. And Watkins out of bounds across the 40-yard line. So 4:13 to play. You might be wondering what happens in case of a tie. A tie does Buffalo no good whatsoever. A tie eliminates Buffalo from the postseason picture. So if necessary, Rex would probably try a field goal from here.
Well, it just depends, because at the start of the day, a tie was in play. Now, all of a sudden, because of the way some games have unfolded around the league, now a tie is no longer in play. So hopefully somebody from the Bills is letting him know that down on the sideline.
3rd and 3. Taylor had it tipped. And Ndamukong Suh. And let's see what Rex is going to do. He's going to kick it away.
Suh, 93, was working on a stunt, just get to the outside, and he just was twisting, trying to get to the outside, and reading Tyrod Taylor's eye, jumping up, getting a hand on it.
Jarvis Landry is deep. They came after the punter, Colton Schmidt. Landry on the run and out of bounds at the 15-yard line. 4 minutes exactly to play here in overtime. And now Matt Moore in the offense back onto the field to try to keep Miami's hopes alive.
Well, they're able to put something together and get down in the final minute and a half to get in position to tie this game up on an Andrew Franks 55-yarder. They got 2 timeouts and 4 minutes to go. Let's see if they have another drive, or Matt Moore has another drive up his sleeve.
Buffalo has big play people on defense. It's a sack-happy front three. Lorenzo Alexander, a Pro Bowler, with 11.5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. Moore and the Dolphins from their own 15. And they're going to give it to Ajayi. And Ajayi breaking through left side. 40, 50. Can they catch him? Finally bring him down. Nikel Roby-Coleman with the tackle. That is a 57-yard run by Jay Ajayi.
Ajayi with great vision and power to get through that initial arm tackle, and then nobody touched him until the final tackle. Great job of blocking by the Miami Dolphins up front. Ajayi now with 188 yards rushing.
Adding to that, to the 20. Remember, the first time these teams met, Ajayi ran for 214 yards back in week 7.
Well, and I think he's pointing to that left shoulder. In that last run, he landed on his left shoulder, quickly jumped up and pointed over to the sidelines at his left shoulder. So Drake is now in the game, I believe.
Yes, he is. 2nd and 2.
180, hut!
Drake gets the first down to the 17.
If I'm Matt Moore right now, I'm going up to him and say, hey, nice job, good run, way to pick up the first down. If I see you with 2 hands not on the football, you and I are going to have a problem out here on the field, because he had 2 hands initially, and then he got into the pile and he started pushing for yards, and he had it switched to just his left hand. You got to wrap that up.
Can you turn around and say, aren't you the one that threw the interception at the end of the first half?
That's fine. That's why you got to have thick skin. If you're going to lead out there, you got to have thick skin.
Kenyon Drake.
Get down, BA.
In the backfield.
Come on!
And we get the whistle for the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes remaining here in overtime. We're tied at 31. Rex Ryan and his Buffalo Bills have fought their tails off here today. AFC picture looks like this. New England and Oakland and Pittsburgh and Houston, division leaders. Kansas City and Miami in the driver's seat as far as the wild card is concerned right now. Buffalo with a loss eliminated. Meanwhile, this game has featured 1,073 combined yards today. That is the most in any NFL game this season.
Well, and I like the fact it's been a cleanly played football game. Yeah, have there been a couple questionable things that we thought could have been, but from a penalty standpoint, between the 2 teams, there have only been 7 penalties. The last time these guys played in week 7, there were over 20 penalties against the 2 teams. So not only was it a hard-fought game, you just mentioned all the yardage for both teams, big plays for both sides of the football, for both teams, both sidelines. This has been a fun game.
Ajayi back on the field.
Shoot by 2. 180, hut!
Ajayi to the left side, trying to turn the corner and out of bounds. Inside the 15 to about the 13.
Well, now you have to start wondering, do you continue to run the football and take the risk? You're well within field goal range. So if you kick the field goal right now, it's about a 31-yarder that you would be kicking. So every time you hand the ball off, every snap you take, you start risking a turnover.
Hold on.
As we take a look at Ajayi now reaching 200 yards on the day.
180, hut!
And he's going to add to it. Inside the 10 to about the 7. And that is a first down. It'll be 1st and goal.
Well, there's that left shoulder again he's pointing to as he's laying on the ground.
Jay Ajayi has carried 32 times today for 206 yards and a touchdown. Three 200-yard rushing games on the season.
Well, and you see how he puts two hands on the football as he's going through there. All that weight landing directly on the left shoulder. We saw about 4 plays ago when he went out of the game, he was pointing to that left shoulder, this time landing on it once again.
Not since 2005 has anyone run for 3 200-yard games in a season. That was Tiki Barber with the New York Giants. That's a day's work.
That's a huge day's work, and the 32 carries is what's even more impressive, because you know you're taking a lot of hits from that standpoint, and he also has 1 reception on the day. So I know he's getting off the field, jogging under his own power. He's swinging that arm like no big deal, but that's a tough injury to have if you're a running back, because that's where you take a bunch of your shots is on those shoulders. If they go on to win this football game, and next week's game against New England going to have a lot of meaning for them, they're going to need a healthy Jay Ajayi.
And this is just going to set them up for a field goal. And some pushing and shoving on the line. Jermon Bushrod being pushed out of the way.
Well, the only thing I can think of is that now they're running the kicking unit on the field. I'm not sure why they took the knee, other than to try and use up some time in case you miss this. You don't want to give Buffalo any time, but if that's the case, then why not take another knee and use up even more time? So interesting call, but doesn't matter. You got a chance for a game winner right here.
He tied the game from 55 yards with 6 minutes to play. And we're under a minute here in OT. Andrew Franks looking to win it. But it'll come after a timeout. And this time the Dolphins use a timeout. You know, you look at Coach Gaze, it looks like he's on the losing end.
Yeah, he wasn't real happy. I don't want to say what he first said, but you could read his lips, and he's like, what are we doing, with some other words in front and behind that. So that's why I just questioned. I said, why are you taking the knee? And then now you run him out on the field like you're going to hurry up and snap it. And now you call a timeout and ice your own kicker. But this should be a chip shot. So a lot of things can happen. Obviously, you got the snap, you got the hold, you got to get an accurate kick. You've got the other team trying to block it. Rex Ryan still has a timeout in his pocket, so if he wants to try doubling up on the icing, he can do that. He's all the way down the 35-yard line, way away from the official, though, so that isn't going to take place.
From 27 yards for the game. And it's good. The Miami Dolphins, with their 10th win of this season, and they now look to tomorrow's game in Kansas City, where Denver, if they lose, would put the Dolphins into the postseason.
That would secure it. So they've held up their end of the bargain. They got the win, albeit it took to the final minute of overtime. The important thing is for them, they got the win. A loss tomorrow by Denver in Kansas City secures a playoff spot for the Miami Dolphins, and unfortunately for Rex Ryan and the Buffalo Bills, that eliminates them from postseason play.
Adam Gase using a matter-of-fact approach, and Rex Ryan, well, I said it earlier, his Bills fought their tails off today.
They played very hard for him, and I have a hard time believing he's not going to get another chance, even though there's a lot of speculation.
34-31, Miami in overtime. We'll come back to Orchard Park after this.